Hello.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new series of Breaking Bad Influence, a series in which I take a look at CITV's insane asylum for mental children who like video games. Coming up this week, we've got...
some fat reviews.
Yes. Andy just said fat, and I think he means fat with a PH, not fat like your mother. Have we already discovered Season 2's hip new word that they'll inevitably use for a couple of episodes and then never say again? Speaking of hip new words that are inevitably used for a couple of episodes and then never mentioned again, this week's feature review is Jurassic Park on the Mega Drive. Most importantly though, lovely Violet is still here, and honestly, looking around, it doesn't look like anything on the set has changed at all. Did they have a 2-week break between Season 1 and Season 2? Oh no, tell a lie, Zed's got a dangly earring, that's new.
Games technology.
Nothing new about this dickhead though, back in his shed with his boring cheats, it's Namrood.
I'm all ready for the new program with my bad influence pencil case, rubber and ruler set.
Christ, he's annoying. Anyway, this week he tells us a cheat for Super Swiv so that you can play the 2-player mode without a second player, something that I suspect he has to do a lot.
A somewhat unscheduled interruption, the first of many, I'm sure. Hey!
What?
Are you tired of typing?
Not really.
Are mice making you miserable?
Not even slightly.
Are you jaded by joysticks?
Well, not
What
exactly.
you need is one of the new personal computers that you can write on.
Oh, God. Right. First of all, Andy's not calmed down at all, and we're only on episode 1. But secondly, how does this replace a joystick, a mouse, or a keyboard in any way, shape, or form?
This one's called the Pen Pal. It was launched by Amstrad earlier this summer. It has the capability to be a phone book, a diary, and a notepad, and you can put additional software in this little slot on the back here. Now, when you first use this machine, you have to teach it how you write. Not how you write, because it understands the letters, how you write, because it's got to understand how you form each letter. So, let's do B. Train B. Capital B. And tick. Now it's learned how I do a capital B. I put all the other letters in before the program, so now if I write my name, it should recognise it no problem at all. A-N-D-Y-C-R-A-N-E. Angracrano.
Great advert for an expensive bit of kit there, Andy. Good job.
I can usually read Andy's handwriting because I understand the meaning of the word.
Alright, mate. Jesus, just shove your great big dangly curtains in her face, why don't you? I should hope he doesn't have nits.
Okay, so, this first word
Is this some sort of sexual harassment lawsuit waiting to happen?
is either going to be meet or melt. But even Andy isn't going to want to melt me in the canteen.
I wouldn't put it past him, Violet. Keep an eye on that lad. Violet shows off the Apple Newton, which, frankly, shits all over the Amstrad version because it actually understands what the hell it is you're writing.
Soft.
Okay, not all the time. Violet introduces the first of our reviews while Andy stares at her menacingly.
The SNES game comes in interactive surround sound. The PC version has the best graphics, and at the other end of the scale, there's the Game Boy version. They're all due for simultaneous release on October the 22nd. But first to hatch is the entirely different Mega Drive version. Here's
Seriously uncomfortable viewing. Our first review then, Jurassic Park, and oh, look at that, a fancy new angle. No more straight-on view for bad influence. Someone in the graphics department has worked out how to do an effect.
Jurassic Park is an average platform game hyped on the back of a major film license. You can either play Dr. Grant or as a raptor. Here I'm playing Dr. Grant.
Are you sure? Are you sure that's not a raptor? I'm glad you clarified, because I could have sworn that man-shaped protagonist in a hat was a raptor. Thanks, review child.
Dr. Grant has got various things that he can do. He can swing from ropes, and as he falls he can shoot the dinosaurs with various weapons which are displayed in a box in the top left-hand corner of the screen.
Okay, so the quality of the reviews clearly hasn't improved between seasons? Jesus, wept.
The scrolling on the game is rather jerky, but the animation on the central character itself is quite good.
Oh my god, Guy, come on, put some enthusiasm behind it.
Being the raptor is better than being Dr. Grant.
State the obvious, mate.
I would have thought they'd come up with a better game for such a big film title, and it doesn't follow the plot of the film much either.
I think it's overrated, just like the film.
Shots fired at the Jurassic Park fans there.
Unless you're wanting to buy this game for it being Jurassic Park, I recommend Alien 3, as the game has the advantage of actually having a plot.
Damn!
3 out of 5 apiece. I actually probably agree with that score, to be honest, so that's a good start. However, nobody described the game as Jurassic, so they've well and truly jettisoned that lexicon, haven't they? Bastards.
I really enjoyed that Jurassic Park movie.
No. No, you can't mispronounce Jurassic as Jurassic, pretending you don't know how to say the word, when you, yourself, in Season 1 specifically referred to games as being Jurassic. You're a liar and a fraud, Nam. I don't forget these things.
Actually, I've been fertling around with a computer-generated version of me.
Okay, wait, what? Can we get a replay on that?
Actually, I've been fertling around with a computer-generated version of me.
Right. I'm starting to think that the word fertler and fertling is a far more sexual term than CITV would have you believe. I've been fertling around with a computer-generated version of me. Come on. Come on.
It's only a prototype, but I'll let you see it if you like.
Right, no, we're skipping ahead. He's about to get his dick out. I know he is. Stranger danger. It's a new series, so hooray! Andy has to describe how the data blast works again. I bet you've missed that, haven't you? I bet you have. Moving on, we're off to see Zed on his amazing American road trip through Yawnsville, USA. And what's he up to today with his new dangly earring and his fancy haircut? Well, Zed's section this week is a random meandering wander through various subjects. Firstly, he starts talking about movie tie-in games. His two examples of this are the classic Aladdin game and the not-so-classic Demolition Man. Where do you go from movie tie-ins, though?
The most interesting news is about what's known technically as vaporware.
Vaporware, for some reason, just leapfrogging from one subject to the next. He tells us that Sega are massive liars.
They had a prototype version of it at a big computer show in Chicago in June, and they told us we could have it today to show you. Then they changed their mind.
And then they bring up the Action Game Master, which we last saw lied about in Season 1. The fact he's only got a picture of it printed out on an A4 sheet of paper, and the title is just random word art. Yeah, I'm not surprised this never came out. 3DO isn't vaporware, but you'll probably wish it was. Regardless, Zed randomly talks about that for a bit, and then he makes a lot of noise.
Game developers to use
What?
this capability. The most obscure image I could find was this animal from Borneo.
Slow loris.
A slow loris. Could it be the new Sonic?
No. Finally, because this segment has no way to conclude, Zed puts on a pair of glasses that have a built-in portable TV, and then he wanders off. And that's the end of whatever that was. Back in the studio, Andy tells us the Commodore's CD32 is coming out soon. That's pretty much all he tells us. We then get told how CDs work before Andy slags off Night Trap.
One of the first games to do that was this one, Night Trap. But even with all that extra information, the picture quality is still pretty grainy, isn't it? It's not like your TV.
And then they give us some surface level information about image and video compression, which is neither useful nor interesting. Seventh guest is introduced randomly and briefly, and then ignored. News and previews time. The KISS Terminator is coming out of the SNES. It's a cheat device that allows you to play non-UK games, and honestly, there was about 1 million of these. Do we need another one? Sega introduces a rating system for their games, hot on the heels of being told off by American Puritans and pearl-clutching mothers. Guess what the first 2 games to get a rating are? Go on, have a guess. I'll give you 4 seconds. If you guessed Jurassic Park and Lode Runner on the Game Gear, well, you're a liar. You guessed something else. Stop lying. Anyway, both of these games got GA for general audience, which is basically like a U rating. So what was the point of starting off with these two if there was no rating system beforehand? You've basically provided nothing, Sega, you bloody nanas.
However, there are no plans to introduce these ratings over here.
Well, that was clearly worth bringing up then, huh? Super Scope news, Yoshi's Safari's coming out soon. It's shit, so that's that. Next review, it's Pop and Twinbee on the SNES, a game I bought by accident thinking it was another game, and it was alright.
There's lots happening so you don't get bored. Sometimes it's hard to see where you are because there's so many things on the screen at once. You need different weapons to kill different baddies.
I can tell you for a fact that that's a lie.
The end of level bosses are really good. They have an outer shell so you have to kill them twice.
You're not killing them twice though, are you? You're just shooting the outer shell off. The thing that you've just described. Honestly, I shouldn't have to get into semantics this early in a Bad Influence season, but this lass is way off.
When there's 2 players you can team up and use the other spaceship as a weapon.
I like the prop friend here who gets to have no opinions. Just sit there and play, stranger girl.
The graphics are excellent, especially the use of Mode 7 on the bosses. Cute graphics and cute music make for a really good game. Not one to play over and over though.
Isn't that the main point of a shoot 'em up though, really? To play it over and over? You don't play them for the story aspect, do you? You play them for the high score chasing. They're probably the perfect examples of games that you play over and over. That's their entire purpose. Your opinions are incorrect, new person. Incorrect.
Excellent graphics, but a bit too cute for my taste.
I think we've managed to capture the last few weeks of this teenager's life before she goes into her full-on goth phase. If we don't see her in black lipstick and heavy mascara by the end of the season, I'll eat a placebo album. So, what are the scores then?
The girls gave it a fat 4 out of 5.
Fat. Fat's the new word. I never knew we could hit rock bottom this fast.
And the boys gave it a fat 4 out of 5 too.
A review for Soccer Kid is next, and this guy is actually a pretty decent reviewer. I'd put him on par with Lakesh from Season 1 in terms of his ability to get about 80% of what he says right, although he does just sound like he's reading the manual half the time.
The only weapon you have is a football, with which you can do various tricks. You can do overhead kicks, you can stand on the ball, roll on it, you can do high jumps with which you can reach a platform.
Look at this last though.
I found the title a bit misleading because it was not a sports game.
Judging a book by its cover and then whining about it. Imagine getting angry because the name of the game had soccer in it, but it doesn't play exactly like every other football game in existence. Do you want a boring world? Because that's how you get a boring world.
It's not instantly appealing, but the graphics get better and better on each level.
Do they though? I can't think of a single game where the graphics actually get better as you go through it. They might be thematically more appealing, but it's not like the game changes engine partway through and looks completely different, is it? Wrong. Wrong opinions. Anyway, what's the scores, Violet?
The girls gave it an average 3 out of 5, and the boys gave it a fat 4 out of 5.
Jesus wept. We're back with Violet and Andy to talk about fat new punch and kick game Mortal Kombat, and I just need to pause for a second because this section features Andy Crane saying so many correct things in a row. I think he might have been replaced with a robot.
So here it is then, the first showing on British television of the game that everybody's talking about. This is Mortal Kombat. Now, the software company behind this are hoping that all the hype will sell some more copies of the game. But as a beat-em-up goes, it's no more violent than any other you can buy. The difference is that, like the coin-ops in the arcades that have a switch that turns off the violence, Mortal Kombat's got a gore code included. Now, a gore code is simply a cheat that lets you turn the violence on or off like a tap. This is it without the cheat, and this is it with it. I don't know what all the fuss is about myself. That cheat is only supposed to be available to anybody over the age of 18, but of course by now it's been published in all the magazines. Listen, take it from me, it doesn't add anything to the gameplay, and bear this in mind before you part with your hard-earned. In a month's time, the best beat-em-up ever comes to the Mega Drive. Good old Street Fighter 2.
The annoying thing about Mortal Kombat isn't the violence or even the hype. It's the fact that once again video games will be put under the spotlight and given bad press by people who really don't know what they're talking about.
Even Violet is getting in there with the 1-2 punch. Season 2, boys, we've hit the mother lode. This is it. Bad influences on the up.
What a load of scrotty rubbish! Of course video games can't make you violent!
Wow. Even Rood. I cannot believe it. A serious subject matter that still, to this day, surrounds video games, and every single member of the Bad Influence crew are sat on the right side of history, with a sensible, firm approach to a subject that could have easily been brushed under the carpet. I honestly can't believe how well they handled it.
And anybody who says they can, I'll rip off their heads and write their name on the wall with the blood from their tonsils.
Okay, well, scratch that.
I've been playing video games for ages and...
Stop!
What are you looking at? I've been playing video games for ages and... What are you looking at?
Jesus fucking Christ. Finally, it's competition time, and some unlucky bugger will win a CDI and...
Some software.
Very descriptive. Oh, and the t-shirt, of course. Always the t-shirt.
A copy of Rood's latest album.
Okay, now please tell me this is real. I am very, very interested. Someone get out there and find this album stat.
But that's it for this week. Bye.
Just before we go, though, I'd like to point out that I did write all the credits for this week's programme on my pen pad.
So, I swear, Andy really wants to get the boot in on Amstrad. He says to Violet that he's written all of this week's credits on his pen pal, and then we get this. Now, come on, that is pretty funny. So, in summary then, the hip new word on the street is fat. Fancy new angles in the review sections don't make up for rubbish children's opinions, and Andy Crane wants Amstrad to crash and burn. See you all next time for another episode of Breaking Bad Influence. Welcome back to episode 2 of season 2 of Breaking Bad Influence, the series in which I take a look at CITV's 90s video game show and ask the question, but why? This week, Violet dresses up as Snoopy, Andy tells us we'll be looking at Rocket Knight Adventures on the Mega Drive, and Jean-Michel Jarre is, for some reason, featured heavily in amongst all of this. To start things off, Andy gives the piano a spin. Not great, but it's fine. We've got a new music construction kit on the Amiga, snappily titled Deluxe Music Construction Set 2.
Now, if you remember the original, you will realise that this has taken 7 years to come out. But when you see what the software is capable of, you will understand why.
Well, I seem to remember you specifically saying that electronic music took no skill at all back in Season 1, Andy, so you've soon changed your tune, almost literally.
And, all you've got to do is select the note you want, crotchet, quaver, breve, semi-breve, and simply use the mouse to put it on the stave exactly where you think it should go.
Ah yes, writing music. Perfectly simple for those who can't play the piano at all.
Take the melody straight from the piano keys down the bottom here, and the computer will put the notes on the stave in the appropriate place. Then play it back to yourself. Anything you can do musically, this thing can do.
Andy shows us that, as well as making our own awful music compositions, we can ruin some of the classics too by simply changing the main instrument from a flute to synthesized steel drums.
Now, Mr. Joplin wrote Cleophas originally for the accordion, but we can soon do something about that. Let's just go along here, and it's a set instrument, and we can change that accordion to anything we like. Banjo, no. Bass, no. Oh, yes, there we are. Steel drums. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Cleophas by Mr. Scott Joplin, now on the steel drum. And on that note...
Do you get it? On that note? Because musical notes? It's a music joke. It's fine if you don't get it. It's pretty high-level stuff. This week's main review is Rocket Knight Adventures, which is pretty good. I quite like it, but enough of what I think. What does Curtains here think?
This is a very interesting game. It has all the elements of a first-class platformer. It keeps you on your toes all the way through. Sparkster is the main character in the game. While you move him, every part of his body moves.
I'm not sure what the kid is getting at here. Did he expect him to leave a leg behind or something?
He has a jetpack on his back which will fire him up into the air or along the ground. You can use it to get up to great heights, which I've just used.
Thanks for pointing that out.
This is level 5. The bosses in this game are very creative. I've just killed one of the bosses, but he'll come back again. There it is.
You haven't killed him, mate. That's a different guy in a different vehicle. I mean, granted, they look the same, but come on, have a think.
This is still level 5. The guards are chasing me through the building. I have to trap them in the lava. Bingo. I use the transporter to go to the next room. I have to knock the support, hold down my button, to charge up my boosters, and then roar up into the sky.
Okay, once again, Bad Influence reviews have devolved into say what you're currently doing, the thing that everyone can see on the screen. I've barely heard a single opinion yet.
At first, I gave this game 5 stars. Although after playing it for a while, it became very easy, so I gave it 4 stars.
Okay, well, maybe that's why they don't give their opinions. He gave it 5 stars, but then after playing it, what some may perhaps call practicing the game, he found it easier and therefore removed 1 star from his final score. Is that all it takes? So if he continued to play it to the point where he could, say, beat it without taking a hit, would it become a 1-star game? Madness, Curtains. Absolute madness.
The cutesy character can be deceiving. It's a bit like Sonic, but my opinion, it's better.
Ooh, that's a hot take. That's a hot take and people ain't gonna like it.
At first, I didn't think this was going to be my cup of tea. But if I had the money, I'd go out and buy this.
See, again, what does that review offer anyone? I didn't think I'd like this, but now I do. That's all he said. Who does that help?
And so the final scores for Rocket Knight Adventures. The girls gave it a good score of 4 out of 5, and the boys liked it too. 4 out of 5 from them.
4 out of 5 each. Good score, but not fat scores. Have we left that terminology behind already? Probably. Anyway, Namrood's doing a racist accent.
Thank you, Fertilers, and welcome to the most technically advanced concert ever staged.
Then he snorts some sort of bong. Honestly, I've no idea how this guy made it onto kids' TV.
1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, England, and welcome to Main Road Football Stadium, home of the Light Blues, Manchester City. Today is home to a different kind of team, the road crew of keyboard wizard Jean-Michel Jarre.
Speaking of kids' TV, which 90s musical pop star was every kid talking about back in the day? That's right, Jean-Michel Jarre, the sexual synthesizer. Well, let's hope that's the case anyway, because Bad Influence has devoted half of their runtime this episode to talk about his latest concert. Hopefully we'll get some hot gossip about his sexual exploits or something.
Much of the music is stored electronically on sequencers. Sequencers are computer-controlled keyboards. They talk to each other using a musical instrument digital interface, otherwise known as MIDI.
And here's the man himself wearing his Tennant's Lager t-shirt and his lightning pants, a true symbol for the ages. We don't care about JMJ though, we want to hear from
Technical Coordinator Simon Ransom.
That's the dude with all the gossip.
And process most of the visual effects of the show. Control for lights, sound, slides, all that sort of stuff is done from the 2 towers.
Well, this isn't very sexy gossip.
Lasers, the slide projectors, a lot of specialist lighting effects that we use for throwing images out.
This isn't very sexy gossip at all. Let's get straight to the source and speak to the keyboard tickler himself. He's bound to have some raunchy tales.
They're wrong because the emotions or lack of emotion is not the responsibility of the instrument, but the responsibility of the guy behind the instrument anyway, whatever it is, a tam-tam or a piano or a computer.
Well, I can only assume that was some sort of sexy metaphor that I'm just too unsexy to understand.
It's just like my garden on bonfire night.
Yeah, definitely a sex metaphor. News and previews time. Radio tuners are now available for your Game Boy and Game Gear for all those kids who want to tune in and listen to their favourite Jean-Michel Jarre hits. Thunderhawk on Mega CD is coming out soon. Again, full of topics that kids love.
There are a number of campaign scenarios to choose from, such as halting a gun-running operation in South America or stopping chemical warfare in Southeast Asia.
Mortal Kombat was released early by naughty retailers, which seems to happen with a different game every week.
Unfortunately, people came in demanding their deposits back because they'd managed to get the game elsewhere. This, by the way, is the SNES version.
Animal cruelty next from everyone's favourite pain in the arse, Namrood.
Soothing effects of pets. When it's all getting too much for me, I like to keep calm by feeding my goldfish. To my piranha. There you go, Cuddles. Oh.
This is all a weak setup for a level select code for James Pond 2 on the Amiga, presumably so you can skip right to the last level and get the game over with sooner. Enough of him anyway, it's time to take a look at a real-life, online flight simulator.
But it is, in fact, unique. You see, you're not just playing against the computer, but against real-life aces, most of whom are over 100 miles away from the studio. In fact, I'm even playing against our American reporter, Zed Wright, who's playing in New York. I can talk to him using the communications panel, so let's see. Hi, Z. See what he comes back with. Yo, Violet, I'm gonna get you.
Well, he typed that quick, didn't he?
The game's actually called Air Warrior, and it's the first and only flight sim that you can play over the telephone lines. There's a range of different planes which all handle differently, and you can fight against up to 40 different people from all over the world. To play over telephone lines, you need a modem. That's one of these, this little black box here that connects your computer to the telephone system. It'll also cost you £10 a month to use the service and the cost of a call to London.
I can feel the weight of my phone bill just watching this.
No hands, this is the film of the battle that we've just had, and obviously everybody's doing exactly the same thing as they did before. The cool thing is, though, if I press F8, I can release my plane from the fight. So I can control mine while everybody else does exactly the same thing as they did before. Better still, if I press N, I can see my own plane, which is about to crash into the side of a mountain at the moment.
Pretty sure those are pyramids, Andy.
This game can be played without being plugged into a phone, and it'll run on most home computers. In fact, online games like this are going to become more and more popular.
Nah, it'll never catch on. Right, time for more game reviews, and first up, it's First Samurai on the SNES. Never heard of it.
Battle against the Demon King, with the good magic of the wizard mage to help him. Here's Andy.
This is a classic conversion of the original Amiga game.
Never heard of it.
Once you get into it, you'll find out otherwise. This is level 2, Time Express. Food baskets need to be hit to open them so I can collect all the food.
Pretty sure this kid is just describing a dream he once had.
And this magic bell summons a sorcerer so a genie will come and help me when I'm in trouble. Here I'll use the magic bell to freeze the ball so I can get to the mystic runes, which are little red things in the corner near to my force.
What the hell are you talking about?
Little genie is going to be summoned and he's going to freeze all the balls with a stiller.
And then he woke up.
Here I broke through the wall with the mystic to get a mystic rune. I did this by summoning my sorcerer with the bell. My sword is going to go because I've lost all my life.
Well, that's not really surprising, mate. You're just running into everything without a care in the world, which, to be fair, could be what you're supposed to do because your descriptions of this game mean nothing to me.
Breaking through windows can earn you food, points or some extra baddies to kill.
Of course it does.
All in all, a good game, but definitely one for those who want a challenge.
The graphics are good, but it would be better if you could have a change of character or even a two-player option.
Those are two completely different things. Lakesh is back.
The sound of music has been improved from the Amiga version, but this game's just too old, too repetitive, and too slow.
You tell him, Lakesh, although you forgot to mention that it also makes 0 sense. 3 out of 5 each for this one. They're probably right, it does look basic as balls. Make way though, because it's time for Garfield on the Game Boy. This is bound to be a classic that doesn't deviate from the comic or TV series in any way.
Garfield's one of my favourite cartoon characters, so I was really looking forward to playing this game. It does actually look like Garfield and the animation is really good.
Ah yes, see, there's Garfield and his drill, and his bombs, and his arch nemesis, mushrooms.
It's difficult with the buttons because you have to work out how to use them at first.
Okay, that right there should be a box quote.
It's difficult with the buttons because you have to work out how to use them at first. You have to blast the blocks away, and it can be a bit difficult because you have to be in the right place. But if you're not quick enough or you can't blast any more blocks, you can get a bit wedged in.
Oh man, this is painful to watch.
This game, it gets harder and harder as it goes along.
For you?
This was very hard, but not very exciting. I wanted to put it down after about 20 minutes.
I don't think euthanization's the answer here. Right, what are the scores then? 3 out of 5 from the girls, and 1 out of 5 for the boys. That's definitely not fat. That's not fat in the slightest.
Steady, Cuddles! Sit, calm down!
Nam's got a cheat for Echo the Dolphin. If he doesn't turn it into a completely different game, it's not worth the cardboard it's written on.
Cuddles! Daddy's here!
I don't know.
Oh, by the way, do you know how to access the Data Blast? Do you want to see it again?
To access it, it's very simple. All you will need is your Commodore Garden VHS video recorder.
The competition prize from last week is given out, and they mentioned the CDI and the T-shirt, but not the real prize, Namrood's new album. So, once again, Bad Influence lied to everyone. Honestly, I'm not even surprised. This week is a banger though, an Amiga 1200, an Air Warrior game, and a T-shirt, of course. The question to answer is, why is Tom Cruise? Finally, to see us out, we have news of a solar battery pack for the Game Boy, which, let's be honest, doesn't look like the most ergonomic thing in the world, but once again, it's not even coming out in the UK, it's only available in Japan, so it's just another in a long line of things that Bad Influence will show us to make us jealous. Right, play us out, Andy.
You got what I need, but you say he's just a friend.
And that leads us straight into the Data Blast. So, in summary then, game reviews should not be random descriptions of parts of a game that we're seeing on screen anyway. Jean-Michel Jarre has no hot gossip, and Namrood's album is another in a long line of Bad Influence lies. See you next time for another episode of Breaking Bad Influence. Hello and welcome back to another episode of that show about games from the 90s. I hope Andy isn't saying hiya again.
Hiya.
He is, I don't like that. This week we're looking at cutting-edge consoles, cutting-edge Mario remakes, and cutting-edge special effects. It's the future. First up though, it's Rood, and is it just me, or is he wearing a lot of makeup? Like, a lot. He's wearing a lot of makeup.
Amongst all my fan mail this week, I've discovered a poem by A.T. Sanderson of Glasgow. There once was a guy called Nam, who was a little spam. He never knew until he grew, which made him a bigger spam. What a marvellous poem.
No idea what that was about. Regardless, if you weren't sure what decade this show was set in, Violet's here to tout a big pile of Jurassic Park merchandise.
Rood, what a dude. You've seen the film, you've worn the book, you've read the t-shirt, and you have eaten the game. And if you're not sick of Jurassic Park and dinosaurs by now, you will be by the end of the programme.
Not a great advert for the show, Violet, but let's see what you've got.
This is the CD-ROM Dinosaurs, which runs on the PC.
Microsoft Dinosaurs. It's like Encarta, but instead of being about everything, it's about dinosaurs.
It's based on several books, but as well as words and pictures, you get sounds and animations as well. You can start at the beginning, like a book, or dip in where you like, and that's what I've done. I've gone to the basics. What is a dinosaur? Let's find out. Dinosaurs were amazing creatures that lived during the Okay, this is where it's got it over a book, because I can't say that word, so I can click it. It'll get me more information about that strange word.
Jesus Christ, Violet, you've only got 9 words into the first sentence. At this rate, you'll have only finished going through the whole CD a couple of weeks ago.
Mesozoic era. And now I won't embarrass myself in front of dinosaur experts.
I think you'll find they're called paleontologists.
This voice facility is also used because you can go on guided tours. There are loads to choose from, but we go for the Dinosaur Olympics.
In basketball, when the Dino Dream Team steps onto the court, Michael Jordan doesn't stand a chance.
And I've
Even
chosen
the
this one because I hope that Manchester are going to win the Olympics later on. Keep your fingers crossed for that.
Man, she's absolutely rattling through this boring talkie book. Do you reckon they realised about 10 seconds in that the audience was slowly going to peter out, so the producer is now in her ear shouting, "Move on to the next page, Violet, we're losing them."
What I want to know is, how can they sample sounds from animals that died 65 million years ago?
Wayo.
Make your chips go down a treat, that, wouldn't it?
What?
Make your chips go down a treat, that, wouldn't it?
No, I still don't understand. Super Mario All-Stars on the SNES is next. It's basically 3 of the best 8-bit platform games ever made, and 1 troll game, and they're being ported across to 16-bit with all new graphics. It marks a weird point in history where Nintendo actually looked to improve their old games when charging you full price to play them again. I think this was probably the first and last time it happened. But anyway, despite my miserable outlook, as far as I'm concerned, if it doesn't get 5 out of 5 across the board, then I'm going to be having violent thoughts.
But tonight, don't call it a comeback!
Speaking of violence, hello anti-violence kid.
If you're a Mario fan, then this one's really going to be for you. What they've done is they've reworked the graphics and the sound. Now, I don't think this uses all the SNES's capabilities, but that shouldn't worry you, as all the gameplay's still there. This is Super Mario Bros. 1.
Known better as simply Super Mario Bros.
It was first released in 1987.
In the UK, yes, but not the world, so technically it wasn't first released in 1987.
And this set the standard for all the rest of the platform games. What I'm doing here, I'm little Mario running along, got to do all the same things, leap on the turtles.
Those are called Koopas.
Knock them into the brown walking mushrooms.
Those are called Goombas.
And if I look around, I can find mushrooms. They turn me into Big Mario.
Known better as Super Mario.
What you can do is you can leap on all of them, and if I can find a star, I'll be invincible for the rest of the level.
No, you won't.
This means you can just run through, you can do big jumps.
No, you can do the same jumps.
You can just plough through the game.
No, you can plough through the level, not the game.
These are the lost levels of Super Mario Bros. You won't have seen these if you live outside Japan, because when they were first released, they were considered too hard for the European market.
Not just the European market.
And this one requires some precision jumping. Let me tell you, these are a lot harder than they look. You've got to leap over these green things.
Pipes.
But they're always getting you.
Only when you jump on them.
Oh, they got me.
Well, I think that's anti-violence kid fully corrected. He doesn't make my life easy, I'll tell you that for now.
If you've already got Super Mario World, I think this complements it nicely.
Wow, Jesus, what happened there? Did they forget to add the fade-out effect on him, or did they just want to wipe him out as quickly as possible?
We've already got Super Mario World. I think this complements it nicely.
I will consider buying it, but only because it's got the 4 games in one.
When they were first released, the Mario games were good, but they're flogging them to death by re-releasing now dated games.
I wonder how pissed off this guy is now. Nintendo hasn't stopped flogging the dead Yoshi since this episode aired. He must be absolutely seething.
And so the final scores for Super Mario All-Stars, the girls gave it an average 3 out of 5, but the boys gave it an excellent 4 out of 5.
See, 4 out of 5 and 3 out of 5 seems super harsh considering what the cartridge offers. 4 classic games brought up to date, hours of fun, absolute bobbins.
Right, Scotty Furtlers, which famous movie is this an impersonation of? I'm really bored with this planet. You are the chosen one, Luke. May the Force be with you. Eat, eat, the spaceship has been overrun by Imperial stormtroopers.
Nam's got into the speed again. Also, have you ever wanted to see a really offensive impression of a Scotsman on kids' TV?
Ockeye the new haggis. I'm really sorry I built this island and invented all them dinosaurs, the new.
Well, whether you did or not, you've just seen it. Jean-Michel Jarre couldn't make it this week, so we're back with Zed in special effects land. And because this is the 90s, he's going to talk about Jurassic Park a lot.
The latest blockbuster to feature their handiwork is Jurassic Park.
Keep absolutely still.
The job of the special effects wizards
Is that their actual job title? I genuinely hope it is.
is to produce scenes and characters that can't exist in real life. The ILM artists have worked on all the most successful movies of the past few years.
Multiple successful movies, eh? Let's just rewind a little bit. Yeah, Howard the Duck. I'm not blind, Zed.
This is a T2 book, and these are just some real rough illustrations that director Jim Cameron sent to us. You can kind of tell what it is, but just barely. And then our art director starts drawing based on that.
So, look, you're trying to teach kids about special effects, and what's a perfect movie to use as a jumping-off point to give examples? Terminator 2, an 18-rated film, on Bad Influence, a kid's show. Come on, guys, come on.
Recognize this? It's an early version of the Death Star from Star Wars. And once the concept gets agreed by the director, the model shop gets to work. And the model has to be made in incredible detail so that when they're projected on a giant cinema screen, they look real. The model makers here at Industrial Light and Magic can produce anything from dragons to dinosaurs.
Is that the best 2 comparison points you could come up with? From dragons to dinosaurs? They're basically the same bloody thing, but one of them has wings. And even some dinosaurs have wings. Who wrote this script?
It's 1975. Producer George Lucas is about to embark on a project called Star Wars.
Never heard of it.
This is what's called a motion control camera. It's motorized and can move very precisely under computer control. It means that camera moves can be repeated time after time.
If you're lost, you can look and you will find me.
Time after time.
Roses are red. Here's some advice.
This is the dinosaur input device that we use to make some of the scenes in Jurassic Park, some of the animations. And what it is a conventional stop-motion animation armature. To be transferred down these wires, it goes into the computer. And
I always thought Jurassic Park looked pretty good, but looking back at it now, that's awful.
Oh, and a competition to finish with. From which movie is this the last scene?
Amazing stuff, eh? In the movie, the special effects wizards filled in the blank spaces with real-life actors and vehicles. So, in the film, they were real, but that wasn't. But what film was it? Well, here's another clue. It was on telly last week.
Very useful tip at this point, I'm sure you'll agree.
Oh, and it starred Bruce Willis.
Okay, it's been a while since I've seen it, but are they talking about Die Hard 2? Another 18-rated film? I might be wrong, but if I'm right, Jesus Christ, Bad Influence. News and previews time. Inferno is coming out for the Amiga and PC. I have nothing to say about this. There are 2 new
stylish
joysticks for Mega Drive and SNES. Not sure I'd class those as stylish, but your mileage may vary. Lastly, Sylpheed on Mega CD. Looks alright. Game review time next, and in Bad Influence tradition, it's Dr. Franken again. No idea why they're always banging on about this series, as it looks cack. Here we are, taking a look at Dr. Franken 2 on the Game Boy.
This is a very big maze game, but it's also a shoot-em-up as well. Here you can see the bailiff. He's knocking at the door frantically, but he can't get me. So I've got to find the key so I can shoot out the back door.
Ah yes, just like Mary Shelley's classic sequel, Frankenstein vs. HMRC. At least they kept close to the source material.
Every time you come back to the forest, it may be slightly different, like there may be coins in the trees, or there might be people sat down below. Here's an old man. He doesn't do anything, so you just go past him.
That was the most boring sentence I've ever heard, and this game matches it.
And I think it'll keep you interested for quite some time.
Look, they forgot to fade her out again. Sloppy work, guys.
At first I found this game quite interesting, but I wasn't sure where I was going. I looked at the demonstration and that helped me where I was supposed to go.
Why would you tell on yourself like that?
And the scores for Dr. Franken 2, the girls liked it and gave it 4 out of 5, but the boys disagreed. They only gave it an average score, 3 out of 5.
So, Dr. Franken 2 on the Game Boy, a game no one talks about, ever, and it looks boring, and it probably is boring based on this small amount of footage I've seen and no other point of reference. It receives the same score as Super Mario All-Stars on the SNES. Alright then, Haunting on the Mega Drive is next. I've never played it, but I love the idea of it. You're basically a ghost. That's the idea. I like that.
Haunting, a new kind of game. In most games, you're a person trying to get rid of a ghost.
In most games, you're a person trying to get rid of a ghost. I don't think that's true. What about Sonic the Hedgehog? Eh? You're not trying to get rid of ghosts in that? Or are you? Maybe you are. I don't know.
You start off the game in the cellar having to collect the green ecto-gunge, which helps you go up to the next part of the level. Ah, there's a red spell. I can use that later in the game.
This guy talks super quick, and he starts all of his paragraphs with, ah.
Ah, here's the little boy. I can do one of two things to him. I can either cast a spell or jump into something. Oh, I'm going to jump into this cupboard. Ah, I've come out as a ghost. Different objects do different things.
It's a nice idea, and the screen is 3D, but everything else about the game is very basic.
This is quite a good storyline, but unfortunately it's just an average game with jerky graphics.
Why does Anti-Violence Kid look high as a kite? His face is needlessly happy compared to what he's saying.
This is quite a good storyline, but unfortunately it's just an average game with jerky graphics.
3 out of 5 each. Game looks like it tries to do something new at the very least, which these cretins wouldn't understand. Next up, we're looking at some luxury game consoles.
2 luxury games consoles. We have assembled here in the studio what you might call the Rolls Royces of the games consoles world. Interestingly, though, they're not all very new. In fact, this bit of kit from Japan is over 3 years old. It's called the FM Towns, and it's never been released in this country.
FM Towns has got to be the least appealing console name ever. What does it even mean?
This is the CD console version of the FM Towns. They've taken away the keyboard, aimed at younger players, and called it the Marty. In this game, Microcosm, you steer a tiny ship through the human body.
One of the consoles you can get in this country is this one, the PC Engine. In Japan, this is more popular than the Mega Drive, even though it's only an 8-bit machine. It packs 6-channel stereo sound, excellent graphics, and when it was launched in 1988, it really took off, primarily because the software, which comes on little cards like this, included flawless copies of some arcade favourites like R-Type or this one, Magical Chase.
I love how rapidly they're just flying through these consoles like an ADHD rattled child just running around shouting, "Look at this! Look at this! Look at this! Look at this! Look at this!"
At the top end of the scale is this, the Neo Geo, the most powerful games console in the universe. It's literally an arcade machine for your bedroom. Software includes all the arcade favourites. This has just been released and I've been playing it all day. It's called Viewpoint. Sadly, the Neo Geo is only available on import, but electrical shops and mail-order companies might be able to rent it for you.
And when you get bored with your bedroom, you can save your game on a memory card, take the memory card out, go down the local arcade, slot it into a coin-op, and continue your game from where you left off.
Nothing makes me sadder than seeing a Neo Geo, only available on import and incredibly expensive, being supported with the awesome idea of memory cards that you can take down to the arcades, which no longer exist, and use them on the machines that, even when they did exist, our arcades probably wouldn't have stocked. Why can't we all just be Japan? They've got it right. Anyway, most of these machines looked excellent, but were only available in the land of the rising Sony. Hopefully there's some amazing, hot new technological wonders coming out over here in the UK.
3DO is one of the new generation of games machines. This game is called Motor Madness. And the system will be released.
Christ. Nami's back with a practical joke that makes no sense.
Wait till they're playing a Dragon's Fury on the Mega Drive, then quickly distract them and type in LIBYFWJID3. Then as soon as they start the game, they'll get a score of, lots of 9s and 2 noughts. But the best bit is, when they blast the ball back into play, they'll go straight to the final stage, making the game completely useless and a total waste of time.
Why would it be a waste of time? You're not... What? The competition last week has been won. The question was, why is Tom Cruise? And the answer was Tom Cruise. Some lucky bugger won that, but considering just how good the prizes were last week, they surely can't top it this week.
This week's competition prize is to win a Neo Geo and games, and the question's the same one that was set by Zed Wright earlier.
A bloody Neo Geo and games. These prizes have gone through the roof since Season 1. Remember that week where you could win a Supervision? Imagine if that was the one you ended up winning, those poor bastards.
And that, unfortunately, is all we have time for today, so see you next week. Ta-ra!
Bye!
Bye. So, that's the end of another episode, and in summary, Anti-Violence Kid knows nothing about Super Mario and is also possibly high. The best way to tell kids about special effects is with 18-rated films, and some lucky git got their hands on a free Neo Geo in the 90s. I wonder if they've still got it. Anyway, see you next time for another episode of Breaking Bad Influence. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Season 2 of Breaking Bad Influence, the show in which we talk about board games from the 90s. Wait, board games?
2, 3.
That's Mayfair of a Hotel, £2,000, please. Hello, on Bad Influence today, how board games like Monopoly are being given a digital dimension.
Oh, right, so board games without the board? It's all about digital board games this week, as well as Asterix on the SNES, because why not? That all goes together, and also Zed is auditioning for the remake of Karate Kid. This all seems a bit overly exciting for Bad Influence, though. Let's bring it down a notch.
Meet Mark Nyman, the World Scrabble Champion. Hello,
Hi.
Welcome to Bad Influence.
Thank you.
We're going to set you a challenge now. This
Right.
is the Amiga Scrabble programme.
Yeah.
Do you feel confident?
I feel pretty good, yeah. I've actually had a couple of games in rehearsal with it, and it's one game all at the moment, so this is the final one.
OK, off you go then, and we'll see how you get on at the end of the show.
Thanks very much.
Riveting stuff. Nam's also in the mood for Scrabble, and we can see here that he's written out his own made-up swear words all over the board. We have Fertler, which we've already discovered means rampant masturbator. We've got Blobwig, which I'm going to assume means pubes. We've got Fart, which isn't a made-up swear word, but I'll give him that. And we have Purritate. I assume that's something sexual to do with a cat. Just as an added bonus, he's also managed to make the side of the board spell out crap. Seriously, this guy shouldn't be allowed on kids' TV.
Hello, Scrotty Fertlers, or should that be Scrotty Scrabblers?
Haha. So at this point, you're all a good 1 season and 4 episodes into Bad Influence. I reckon you'll probably be able to put yourself in the correct mindset of an average Bad Influence scriptwriter by now. So here's my question. So far, we've had talk about digital board games, we've had the World Scrabble Champion, and we've had a hilarious Scrabble joke from Nam. I want you to have a guess what game today's cheat is for. Go on, have a guess. I'll give you 4 seconds. If you guessed Jungle Strike, then bad luck, it was Desert Strike. No points for you. Anyway, that's enough for now. What's Andy up to?
It's true, you know, it's true.
Wait, what is Andy up to?
But my body's telling me yes.
Someone call the police.
Have a look at this. The new Amiga CD32, the first 32-bit console to be launched in this country.
Ah, the Amiga CD32. I'm looking forward to Andy trying desperately to sell this to a disinterested audience. It's going to be the Supervision all over again.
Software? Well, there's not very much of it around at the moment. There are only 4 games available, but more are promised by Christmas. 80, in fact. Honest.
Alright, not a hard sell then.
Now, when you buy the console, you get all the usual bits and pieces. You get your mains adapter, etc., and you get this rather strange-shaped controller. Why it's this shape, I've no idea. It doesn't seem to improve playability. In fact, it's just a nuisance.
Jesus Christ, Andy, call the Burns unit.
You also get 2 games. You get a game called Oscar, and this one, Diggers, which is, well, it takes ages to get going, and then it's really slow, and it's sort of like Lemmings, but it's nowhere near as much fun.
So many shots fired. There's no comeback from this.
But amazing 32-bit games are coming. They promise us. This is called Rise of the Robots.
Oh, I tell a lie. Rise of the Robots is coming out for it. Clearly, Andy doesn't know what he's talking about. This machine is the future.
It makes full use of CD quality sound and CD quality music. And as we've said so many times on this programme before, you get a better value of game for your money on CD than you do from a floppy or a cartridge.
I'm not sure I agree with that statement. A better value of game on CD over a cartridge would imply that simply having more of something provides better value. You can't really compare, say, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo on the SNES and, I don't know, Rise of the Robots on the Amiga CD32 and then say, well, I know it seems like Street Fighter 2 Turbo is actually a game worth playing, but it didn't come out on a disc, so when you think about it, Rise of the Robots is better value because of the information. Nonsense. Violet introduces our headline review, Asterix for the SNES, and she seems to have gotten herself wedged between a table and a metal girder. Hopefully she'll free herself before the kids are done spouting nonsense. Adam is back. You may remember that Adam was a Series 1 contender for Grumpiest Man Alive, but by the end of the season, he seemed to have been lobotomized. Let's see if he's back on form.
You got a pretty typical sequence here, lots of jumping around. If you look at the bottom of the screen here, Dogmatic bites the soldier, stopping him from attacking me, which is useful. As you can see here, there's a lot of jumping. That potion there makes it temporarily invincible, so you can charge through the enemy and smack them up without having to take any damage. That's another useful point.
So far not so good. Maybe you'll never recover?
Unfortunately, you just get bored by the game. There's just all this jumping around and there's nothing to do.
No, wait, he's back. He's back. Come on, Adam, fire on all cylinders.
I mean, you just jump in here between clouds. What's the point? Here you have to jump on the ball's back to avoid being damaged by the hedge. These coins here, when you have 100 of them, will give you an extra life. A rip-off move of Mario, which the game is desperately trying to be, but doesn't cut it at all. One interesting feature is that after an hour of play, continuous, this screen comes up telling you that you want to take a break. Personally, I don't know why anyone would want to play this game for an hour continuously. There's too much jumping around, not enough to do. I wouldn't play this game unless I was getting paid for it. And seeing as this game costs £45, I'd take that £45 and buy some of the books. At least I get more fun out of them.
I like the main characters, especially the dog.
Quiet, you! Adam has spoken!
It's quite good.
Your opinion means nothing to me. Adam is the one true reviewer.
So the final scores for Asterix. The girls gave it an average score of 3 out of 5, and the boys, well, some of them liked it more than Adam, so overall they gave it 3 out of 5 as well.
Oh, you sons of bitches. How could they do this to my boy? He was the only one with the passion and drive to kick Asterix while it was down. Right, let's fix this. There. A 1-star review, just as Lord Adam, our reviewing saviour, would have wanted.
I expect, like me, you were amazed to hear the news from America recently that virtual reality was in fact discovered over 100 years ago.
What are you on about, Andy?
The mysterious Virtual Geographic League have just revealed the fact that they've been exploring cyberspace since the turn of the century.
What are you on about, Andy?
But now they need more funds for research, and so they've had to open their doors to the public. And among them was our own Zed Wright.
I've no idea what Andy's talking about, but off we go to America to visit Zed, who I'm sure will do a much better job of explaining what the hell is going on.
It's 10:30 at night in London. It's just after lunch in Walnut Creek, California. And it's, later than I thought it was till hours 7. I'm in the headquarters of the Virtual Geographic League. It was from this very same building that some of the bravest adventurers in history set out to explore cyberspace.
What are you on about, Zed?
And I'm about to join them.
All pilots for Alpha 4. Alpha 4, please report the departure area. Attention, all pilots for Alpha 4.
Oh, excuse me, that's my mission.
Wait, okay, so is this some sort of cross between LARPing and virtual reality? Honestly, and people thought the 90s weren't cool.
I'm fighting 7 other Mac warriors from all over the universe, and it's a battle to the death. My mech has an almost overwhelming array of armaments and systems, but it takes a lot of practice to control.
Anyway, enough of that. Let's have a word with the founder of all this nonsense, Walt Disney's less successful brother, Tim.
Most of the history of the Virtual Geographic League remains shrouded in mystery, but we do know a few things. Primarily that it was founded in 1895 by Alexander Graham Bell and Nikola Tesla with the goal of discovering and exploring other universes.
What are you on about, Tim?
The containment bay, you'll notice it's a heavily reinforced structure That's for a reason. There have been a few episodes of unwanted hitchhikers making the journey back to Earth.
What are you on about, Tim?
And some resulting mayhem. But we've really improved our safety standards, and in fact, we've only lost 11 pilots over the last 25 years of...
Well, don't laugh, Zed. The man's just declared 11 dead pilots, and you're sat here chuckling in his face, you monster.
In fact, I brought you here this operator's manual, and I suggest you pay very close attention to the regulations concerning safety in Chapter 6. Chapter 6.
It was at this point that Zed regretted never learning how to read.
My next translocation is to Mars, the Red Planet, in the year 2053.
What the hell is this place?
Central to unidentified pilot. Cease and desist. This use of the vehicle is not authorized.
My task is to beat the other players and race to freedom by any means I can. I can crash into them or find my solid rocket boosters so I can get a speed advantage. Uh-oh, I'm about to crash.
Well, the frame rate doesn't exactly convey speed, does it? Hopefully Zed will survive this ordeal anyway.
Did pretty good.
There are plans to set up virtual worlds in this country too, probably next year and probably in London.
Heavy emphasis on the word probably there.
Battletech is based on this board game, and just like when Z played it, the idea is to destroy opponents and capture land.
Not sure that's how you play the game, Violet. News and previews next. Sonic CD is coming out, offering better value for money over the other Sonics because of all the information. Turtles Tournament Fighters is coming out. Not as good as Rise of the Robots though, because it's only on cartridge.
The latest pocket-sized strap-on for your Game Boy.
Wait, did he just say strap-on for your Game Boy?
Strap-on for your Game Boy.
He did say strap-on for your Game Boy.
Is this the humongous Booster Boy?
Okay, what the hell is that? That's not a strap-on, that's a fucking monster.
This massive plastic case completely surrounds your Game Boy. It's got stereo speakers, larger buttons and an amplifier. There are drawers and little compartments on the side here for headphones and carts. There's a magnifier, there's a light, even a robust little mini joystick.
I'm pretty sure it could work as a portable microwave as well. Honestly, it looks like a giant shoe. Talking about shoes.
Are your trainers looking dull and lifeless? Have they got that just got them from the shop look? Well, take it from me, you are seriously uncool.
Okay, blah blah blah, something about shoes. So let's play the game again, shall we? Nam is currently doing a hilarious bit about shoes, but which game is he about to give us a cheat for? I'll make this one multiple choice, give you a fighting chance. Is he going to give us a cheat for A, The Shoe People on Amiga CD32, B, FIFA 92 on the SNES, or C, Fido Dido? I'll give you 4 seconds.
1, 2...
You're wrong, it was Cool Spot. How the hell do you get Fido Dido and Cool Spot mixed up, you moron? Anyway, the excitement level is getting a bit too high again. Violet, can we have a Scrabble update?
Time to find out how the world Scrabble champion is getting on against the Amiga. So, who's winning?
Well, I'm just ahead at the moment, 323 to 303, and it's my go. But I've got pretty bad letters on my rack at the moment, so it's anyone's game.
I'm literally on the edge of my seat.
Andy.
It's not just Scrabble that's enjoying the digital treatment. Lots of other family favourites are enjoying a new lease of life as toy companies convert their bestsellers to video format, coincidentally just in time for Christmas. This is Monopoly on the PC. Now, at first glance, it may look about as useful as a chocolate fireguard, but think about it. There are advantages to binning the cardboard in favour of the computer. There are... Well, for example, you don't have to argue with the computer about who gets to be the top hat, do you? Anyway.
I get the feeling that Andy hates everything about this episode of Bad Influence.
You can play against up to 7 other computerised characters. They've all got their own quirky little personality traits.
What on earth is going on with these characterizations in the background? It looks like some sort of Nazi sex fetish convention. This isn't the Monopoly I'd know and, well, not love, tolerate.
Well, that's it, really.
This is Mahjong. In this particular version of the game, the basic idea is to get rid of all the tiles by matching them up. Like, that's the pair.
Ah yes, Mahjong, the game in which you have to match 2 symbols, but half of them look so similar that you spend most of your time doing nothing but staring. Well, fear not, because instead of staring at little wooden blocks, you can now stare at a screen instead.
Now I'm just getting rid of the tiles by exactly the same principle. I'm finding a tile which has got 2 bare edges next to each other, clicking them on them with the joypad, and they're disappearing. And then I think I'm going to be stuck for a bit.
Fun.
Even old favourites like battleships have been given the full treatment.
Oh, Christ. Battleships is shit as a board game. The last thing I want to do is play a shit video game version of it.
Check. And of course there's chess, which was the first board game ever to get computerised. It's only recently that the software has begun to appeal to anyone who's less than a grandmaster. This is Battle Chess 4000.
Yeah, see, the thing about chess is that it's often a bit too fast. What you really want to do is play chess where you can stop every once in a while and watch the same animations you've seen 1,000 times before. That's the true way to play.
But for all the technical jiggery-pokery of the computer games, for me, there's nothing better than actually arguing with Violet about whether she owes me money for the rent on Piccadilly.
So, to sum up Andy's words here, this entire section was pointless, don't bother. Alfred Chicken on Amiga is next, and it looks like they've tied Adam up and left him in a basement somewhere, for fear he'll actually tell everyone how shit Alfred Chicken really is. Here's some random lass instead.
When you first begin to play this game, it's difficult to control Alfred and to understand the game.
Not a great start there. Not only did she swallow a big mouthful of saliva mid-sentence, she started it with the classic, when you first begin to play, it's difficult to control and understand the game. Now, I'm not saying she's wrong, but she's not right. Stop swallowing!
This is level 3, wood. You can tell from the pieces of wood about.
This is going to be a long, difficult review.
I'm now going through a secret entrance into a room where there's a flower. Now, if I collect this telephone, she will give me a special weapon.
Okay, if you walk into a room and there's a giant flower and a telephone on the floor, then of course you're going to pick up the telephone to get a special weapon. We don't need that explained. Okay, I'll give it that. We might need that one explained.
This game is worse than any other platform game I've played.
Woo! I wasn't expecting that. I think Adam's been in area.
This seems like a very basic game compared to some Amiga releases. It might appeal to younger players, but it didn't appeal to me.
He definitely has. They might have locked him away, but Adam has infected everyone with his seething hatred.
I really hate this game.
The spirit of Adam runs through us all.
And the scores for Alfred Chicken. The girls gave it a paltry 2 out of 5, and the boys gave it a foul 2 out of 5.
Still didn't get 1 out of 5 though, considering one of them called it the worst platform game she's ever played. What on earth does it take to hit rock bottom here? Gunstar Heroes is next. Now we're talking. 5 out of 5 each, calling it now.
This is one of the best ever games for the Mega Drive.
Yes, lad.
This is a definite game to buy.
Yes, lad.
I like this game, it's really good.
Yes, lass.
This is a very good game.
Yes, lad.
And the scores for Gunstar Heroes. The girls gave it an excellent score of 4 out of 5, and the boys agreed. 4 out of 5 from them.
Wait a minute. This isn't my world. Disappointed!
Are you having a laugh? I hate Bad Influence. Nam's back and he's talking about shoes again. You've got until the end of this sentence to guess which game he's giving a cheat for. It's Parodius on the SNES. You were never going to get it. Competition time. The winner of last week's amazing Neo Geo and Games was some random lass who watched Die Hard 2 when she shouldn't have. I don't know. I feel like you're probably encouraging children to watch 18-rated films at this point. I hope this week's competition is a question about The Exorcist. Speaking of this week, the prize is an Amiga CD32. Considering Andy spent a solid 3 minutes slagging the thing off, I think we can consider this a downgrade to last week's prize. Enough about all that though.
Before we go, the question that's on everyone's lips. Who is better, the world Scrabble champion or the Amiga?
Yes, literally no one can wait for the outcome of this. No one.
Who's won? Who's won?
The Amiga is officially won by 6 points.
So, the Amiga won, but don't worry, he's got an excuse up his sleeve.
But it was quite ironically at the end, I actually pressed across rather than down on my last move.
So you lost because it was the computer?
I won if I'd been playing on a board, but I lost because I pressed the wrong digit into the computer.
Yeah. Alright mate, we believe you.
At any rate, it would have been very close.
It was very close, it's a great player.
What was your best word?
My best word was Equinia, and its best word was vortexes, which was very nice, using the X.
Well, thanks for playing it for us.
Pleasure.
It just goes to show that a computer can almost be beaten.
No, because it was a mistake, Violet. He would have definitely won otherwise. Definitely.
And finally, just before we go, tomorrow sees the launch of the game everybody's been waiting for.
Andy lets us know that Street Fighter 2 Turbo on the SNES will get a review next week, and then it's Data Blast time. So in summary then, video game renditions of board games are wank and you shouldn't bother with them. Adam is the lord and saviour of Bad Influence reviews, and if you lose at a game of Scrabble to an Amiga, the best option is to bow out gracefully by blaming the poor controls. See you next time for another episode of Breaking Bad Influence. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Breaking Bad Influence, the show in which we give a stern look toward the murky underworld of smelly 90s video game television. Higher or lower, Andy?
Hiya.
Nope, we're always going lower on this show, and this week we've got
A new way to add video footage to games.
Oh, fancy. Street Fighter 2 Turbo is coming out on the SNES, 5 out of 5, and Zed's gone to Scarborough something. Anyway, there's no time to prepare you for this, so here it is.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is. Please, don't applaud. Just throw money.
This is a great value way of turning your Mega CD into a fully functioning karaoke system at a fraction of the cost of the professional kits you can buy in the shops. It's going to be launched in the UK next week. It comes with all the jiggery pokery you need to set it up, including a CD of your favourite Christmas songs. But 52 other discs are available, so you could sing along at Elvis, or an R.E.M., or Michael Jackson, or Prince.
No Jean-Michel Jarre, though.
We'll now do our famed performance of the 12 Days of Christmas. I thank you.
Oh, God, what is going on?
On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree. Oi!
Thanks, Violet.
Almost as bad as Andy's singing is this CD, which is also karaoke. But, lovey darlings, instead of singing, you get to act in a Shakespeare play.
So, nothing like karaoke then?
Now, all your actors will know that it's supposed to be bad luck to say the name of the Scottish play, so I won't say it, but I have a feeling that someone said it while they were writing the software.
Uh-oh, Violet's not happy.
When shall we three meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?
Ha-ha, when the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won. Hang on a minute, I've finished my lines, and look, that's not how it's spelled in my version of Shakespeare. To add insult to injury, the actors sound like they've been to the Rood School of Acting.
I feel like Violet's taken over my job here. Enough of that shite anyway, Rood is hanging from the rafters.
Well, hey-ho! Cats are really interesting creatures. They dangle around in their sheds and find out where things are by making high-pitched beeping noises.
If you're wondering where this is going, he's pretending that he got cats and bats mixed up so that he can give a cheat for Batman, but instead of calling it Batman, he calls it Catman. Honestly, it's not worth it.
In 1986, a new arcade game took over the world. It was called Street Fighter, and it really was the granddaddy of all beat-em-ups. Then in 1991, we got Street Fighter 2, and that made its console debut on the SNES last year. Last Friday saw the launch of the Turbo version. It plays like the Champion Edition arcade game. You control all 4 bosses and can play the 12 World Warriors at turbo speed. Here's Alex.
See, I get the feeling that Andy actually does really, really like Street Fighter. I don't think it's an acting veneer. Just look at his cheeky little smile there. He can't wait. So with that being said, I predict this game will get 5 out of 5 apiece. Oh, for anti-violence kid. Okay, I take it back. It's not going to get 5 out of 5 apiece.
This is me playing Chun-Li. She's still got all her old moves. What I'm going to try and do is attempt a new fireball, which is quite tricky because you've got to do 180 degrees on the pad.
Good action shot there. Take note, pro gamers.
There, I've done it. And you can blast over Guile. This is me and Katie in the 2-player mode. We've both chosen to play bosses. That's a big difference from the original edition. Also, we didn't have to put in a cheat code to play the same character. Also, the major difference...
I think Anti-Violence Kid needs a thesaurus, not a new game.
Also, this is M. Bison against Ryu. In the first game, they were a lot stronger than all the other characters. Also, in this one, they haven't been given an extra special move, so it sort of evens out the gameplay. Also, if this was the first Street Fighter game, then it would definitely be a 5. But unfortunately, it's not much different from the original one, so I only gave it 4.
I knew it! God damn you, all the way to hell and back.
I like the way that the music changed with each background.
Swear to God, if the next word is a but, then it better be a good one after that abysmal praise.
But the special moves were really hard to do.
Pretty good generally, but the special moves are baffling, and the voice could be better.
The voice could be better. Who gives a flying kick about the voices? And stop being shit at doing the special moves. Honestly, I'm moving out. One more terrible review and I'm leaving the country.
And so the final scores for Street Fighter 2 Turbo, the girls gave it an excellent 4 out of 5, and the boys thought it was a top game too. 4 out of 5 from them.
Bollocks. If you forgot how scores work, and let's be honest, after watching that shit show, you may well be confused, fear not, here's Andy to show you again.
5 stars means an absolutely perfect, faultless game. Nothing should spoil your enjoyment of it. In fact, Street Fighter 2 Turbo would have got 5 stars if it'd been a new game, but as it was just a rejigged version of an established one, it only got 4 stars.
That makes no sense whatsoever. So if they release another version of the game, does it go down to 3 by default and then 2? Surely you're reviewing the game based... You know what? There's honestly no point in arguing with them. They can't hear me and they're in the past. I need to let it go.
And 4 stars means an excellent, above-average game. Only Famine, War or Des O'Connor should spoil your enjoyment of that.
Too soon, Andy.
3 stars, an average game. Pretty good, but there are probably plenty others on the market just as playable. 2 stars, dull. Dull, dull. Do not play this game unless you are the kind of sad person who plays games that are dull, dull, dull.
So if 2 is that bad, what's the point in 1 star?
And 1 star, well, you could probably use the box to keep newts in, but I should think they'd escape.
All right, then.
And remember, the people who review games on Bad Influence are people who buy games, unlike the magazines.
Well, that's not technically true. The kids reviewing this stuff haven't all bought the game they're reviewing, and the journalists who write for magazines don't get every game ever made for free. The kids are reviewing these games in exactly the same way a magazine would. They're playing a review copy. Stop lying to the public, Andy, you hack. Anyway, this week Zed is in California, where he's gone to visit LucasArts before they get mulched by the passage of time.
What have these games got in common? Super Star Wars, James Bond the Duel, Lawnmower Man, The Little Mermaid, and Jurassic Park.
They're all shit?
That's right, they're all based on movies.
Oh, well, close enough.
And now the long-awaited Super Empire Strikes Back. If you're a fan of Super Star Wars, you're gonna love Super Empire Strikes Back.
Because it's pretty much the same game.
It's a bigger game with 12 megabits instead of 8.
Oh, well, I didn't realize there were more megabits. That changes things.
Other new features mean you can run and shoot at the same time.
Fucking hell, it's the future.
It's an intense arcade action game which has been rendered entirely using 3D graphics. You can fly for the Rebel Alliance in X-Wings, A-Wings, and even snow speeders. This meteor storm is one of the playable sections of the game.
If it's one of the playable sections of the game, why are you showing me a cutscene? Anyway, that's enough of LucasArts. It's time to follow in the footsteps of God Almighty and take a look inside a Virgin office. Never mind. Much like episode 1, we're taking a look at Aladdin, followed immediately by Demolition Man. And oh look, green screens.
He was transformed genetically after his mother was bitten by a vampire.
Next step is to clean up the frames one by one in a computer paint system.
You can see it's very rough. I have to go in, magnify, and I clean up the image, making sure there's no pixels that really stick out and make the image look of poor quality.
This looks like the most boring job in the world.
He can run the finished animations. Effects like gunfire and blood are added later.
Just some gratuitous violence on kids' TV there. Anyway, bored of exploring Virgins, Zed goes back to LucasArts to take a look at Sam and Max, followed by...
Here's a sneak preview of the Ultimate Movie tie-in.
Yes, the Ultimate Movie tie-in, The Dig. And if you're wondering why you've never heard of the film, it's because it isn't a film. It's the Ultimate Movie tie-in because Steven Spielberg decided not to make a film of it. That's bad influence logic for you. Namrood's finally been arrested.
Come out with your hands up. The shed is surrounded by armed police.
Just relax, Burglars. I'll handle this. Is it about those library books that are overdue?
Whatever. It's news and previews time, and it's full of exciting things such as Sim Farm and 2 Sonic books. Though on the plus side, Plock is coming out, the Pickford classic with no save states, for which I will never forgive and never forget. Zelda Link's Awakening review next. 5 out of 5. It has to be. It's a bloody classic.
I love the SNES version of this, but I thought the NES version was a bit poor.
It's our friend the Goth, seen here decked out in all black, her transformation nearly complete. Hopefully she's not going to be a big sour grape over all of this, though.
You need 8 instruments in this game to wake the windfish and he'll tell you what's happened. I've got a feather, which allows me to jump, and that allows me to get the Nightmare's key. Found it. I'm in the boss's lair now. I've just defeated him.
Once again, this isn't a review. This is just boring prehistoric streaming.
It translates really well to Game Boy. I wasn't disappointed and I'll definitely buy it.
Yeah, go Goth last. Things are looking good.
This is really hard. But like all Zelda games, if you keep trying, you'll soon be rewarded in this great role-playing game.
It's not really hard. It's not really hard at all. Why is everyone a bad influence so shit at games?
This game was really hard to get the hang of, and you have to persevere with it to get past each level.
This lass is just rubbish at everything.
And the scores for Zelda Link's Awakening. The girls gave it an excellent 4 out of 5, but the boys thought it was only average and gave it 3 out of 5.
Oh, this lot are actually having a draft. Right. Shinobi 3 is up next. That's a good game, so let's say 3 out of 5 each, because nobody on Bad Influence likes games, apparently.
This game is a platform game based on the ninja theme.
I wouldn't really describe Shinobi as a platform game, but go on.
You can find lots of secret passages where you can pick up all sorts of stuff. Here he picks up an extra magic, which do him a lot of good. There are lots of little ninjas around like this bloke.
He's not little, he's just crouching.
I'll call my magic here, I think. This one, 4 streams of fire come round and kill off the enemies.
Aye, we can see that. Stop explaining what we can all see.
Even though this game looks good, the earlier levels are far too easy and the later levels are far too hard.
But the middle levels are just right.
It's too violent for young children and too easy for older ones. I think it's a real waste of time.
Jesus, what an actual mess of a review.
This game has some good graphics and scrolling. There's some exciting parts and nice touches in the background.
And the scores for Shinobi 3, the girls gave it a poor 2 out of 5, and the boys gave it an average 3 out of 5.
That's it. I'm leaving the country. If you ever wanted to be bored by TV for a bit, Andy's here to explain what MPEG means. Fun stuff.
Now, in theory, I should be able to take that CD movie and play it on any CD hardware system because of a magic word, MPEG. It's a kind of standardization system. It stands for Motion Picture Experts Group, and it was indeed a group of motion picture experts who got together around a table and decided they all wanted their machines to run full motion video. After about 7 years, they all scratched their heads and came up with a creative title, MPEG. A system that allows you to store up to 74 minutes of information on one CD. That's not enough for a movie, so movies come on, well, 2 CDs. So that's the theory, but does it work in practice? Can I take my CD movie out of this system and play it on the other one?
I'm just going to save you 5 minutes here and let you all know that the answer is no.
Before you play movies at all, most machines need a special add-on that'll let them play full motion video. The first of these to be available isn't for the CDI or even the CD32, but for the PC.
Full motion video on PC sounds like hogwash, but thankfully you don't need too much to get FMV to run properly. Just a big bank account.
A special extra bit of kit which goes inside the PC called Real Magic. This is Return to Zork, where you've got digitised people in front of a computer-generated background.
It's also got the same budget as CITV's Nightmare by the looks of it. If you're wondering what Nam's up to, he's got stuck in a TV. Moving on, someone won last week's competition prize of a t-shirt and a CD32. And the next prize is a Super Famicom TV, which is an absolutely amazing prize. How the hell did they manage to score this thing?
It's got a SNES built in. Look, the cartridge slot's at the top here, and down in the bottom left-hand corner is where you plug in the controllers. And this controller is called a Patriot. This has special buttons with all the special moves for the characters built in. It's almost impossible to lose, unless you're Andy Crane, unfortunately. Now, sadly, we can't give you this telly as a competition prize, but we can give you...
Oh, it's not the TV. Well, why show the TV now, Andy? Honestly, they're determined to ruin everyone's day with this kind of bullshit. So, you get a SNES, a crap third-party pad, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and a t-shirt. And a pair of boxing gloves for some reason. Violet finishes things off by breaking Andy's jaw, probably for the best, and then the data blast comes rolling in. So, in summary then, the Bad Influence scoring system is just as wrecked as it was in Season 1, if not more so. The best movie tie-ins are the ones that aren't based on a movie, and I've just sold my house and I'm in the process of moving to a different fucking planet. See you next time for another episode of absolute bullshit. Hello and welcome back to Breaking Bad Influence. Here we are at episode 6 of season 2, and oh, look at that, Violet gets to introduce this one.
Hello from an historical bad influence, or should that be hysterical?
Probably not in the way you intended. This week we're taking a look at retro games from the perspective of the 90s, so like double retro. Andy is going to give us a sneak peek at the Jaguar, and Zed is visiting somewhere, probably in America. Right, start us off, Andy.
But first, have Have a look at this. It's the first ever arcade game, Pong. It came out nearly 20 years ago, and it's a simple but very playable tennis game. It was invented in 1974 by an American, Nolan Bushnell, who later went on to form the Atari video games company. Atari have another world first, the world's first 64-bit games console, the Jaguar. This is the only one in the country, and in fact it's so new that the games themselves aren't even on their proper cartridges yet. As you might imagine, it produces fantastic quality graphics, animation and sound. This is called Present Galaxy, a bog-standard space shoot-'em-up that comes with the machine.
Yes, great way to show off a new console with, in the words of Andy, a bog-standard shoot-'em-up.
But look at the detail on the pictures, and look how smoothly everything moves.
Yes, I literally can't believe my eyes. Anyway, the Jaguar is touting itself as 64 bits, but what does that mean exactly? Thankfully, Violet is going to sort of explain.
If you look inside them, you can see that there are 8 lines etched into the circuit board. Now, each line is a connecting wire, and each wire can deal with 1 bit of information, which means that these machines can deal with 8 bits of information at once. Moving across to the 16-bit machines, the SNES and the Mega Drive, and looking inside them, you can see that these ones have 16 connecting wires between the chips.
Alright, we get it. It's basic math. So what about the Jaguar? Presumably that's got 64 lines, has it?
64 wires connecting each chip. They're here, although they're so faint you can barely see them. Strictly speaking, the Jaguar is 2 32-bit machines, one dedicated to sound, one to pictures.
Right, so it's not 64-bit then, is it? It's 32 times 2 bits, those sneaky oiks.
This game is called Cybermorph.
And it's a bit too loud,
the
Andy.
spaceship chick can also do texture mapping, as in this early version of Alien vs Predator. You can choose to be either the alien or the Predator. Stalk your opponent through the tunnels. And add-ons like a CD drive and a virtual reality helmet are planned for next year.
Yeah, maybe want to revise those plans a bit.
Hey, hello, Scotty Furtlers. I'm really excited because later on I'm going to be trying out my latest invention, the Rood Mark II time machine. I'm having a few problems, though, with the space-time capacitator. It keeps going off accidentally and disrupting time. It keeps going off accidentally and disrupting time.
I wonder how long it takes them to shoehorn sketches into these Rood segments. I can tell you now it's not worth the effort.
Time to get on with the programme, I think.
More like time to change the fucking channel.
This Friday sees the launch of 3 brand new Battletoads games. This is the Game Boy version, Battletoads in Ragnarok's World.
What a time to be alive. 3 Battletoads games at once. Why don't we get 3 Battletoads games every year?
The SNES game, Battletoads in Battlemaniacs, sees Zitz, Rash and Pimple in Tibet, saving yet another captive princess. These princesses really should be much more careful. Here's Lakesh.
They brought Lakesh in here because Anti-Violence Kid has already shown himself to be an absolute miser when it comes to Battletoads.
This is level 2, and as you can see, there's already a vast change in gameplay. The graphics are excellent, and I have to kill all these beasts in various different ways. Punching, kicking, throwing my platform down, sending it whizzing across the screen. The 2-player mode adds life to the game, but however, as soon as I've reached this level, I've begun to get tired of the game. It gets ludicrously hard, and this is only level 3.
Come on, Lakesh, get good.
This is brilliant fun. The gameplay and graphics on it are excellent. The characters move really well, but some of the later levels are just too hard.
You're all rubbish.
This game has a lot to offer for experienced game players, but for most it's just too hard.
Girls know the score on this one. Well, just that one lass, apparently. And the lads are all terrible. I'm declaring that bad influence is the sole reason that video games have been dumbed down in future generations, just to appease these useless whelks.
Use the special move, now! That's it.
Andy pretending to help there.
If you were watching Bad Influence last year, you may remember that Zed Wright went to see how computers are used behind the scenes at the Universal Studios in Hollywood. Well, this year he's been invited back to check out the latest computer-driven attraction, the one people in the know are calling BTTF.
That's right, Zed has gone back to Universal Studios to bore us some more. But what could BTTF stand for, I wonder?
The new ride is based on a famous movie, and it uses the very latest simulated technology. Have you got it yet? BTTF?
I mean, it's got to be Back to the Future, right? That's the only thing it could stand for.
Here I am, in the pre-attraction themed entertainment for the new ride, or Q as it's known technically. In fact, the BTTF pre-show area is cleverly designed to build your anticipation.
Yeah, Back to the Future.
You must have guessed it by now. BTTF is Back to the Future.
We know! Hold up, why is Zed dressed like a referee? Was this fashionable in the 90s? I don't remember this.
Back to the Future, the ride gives you a chance to travel in an 8-seater DeLorean time machine.
The problem with these kind of rides is that there's no real sense of depth to the image. It's basically like being sat in front of a TV while someone kicks the back of your seat and blows smoke in your face.
First of all, we're utilizing the DeLorean time travel machine, and that's a car. People are used to the car.
Well, yeah, come on, mate. What the hell else are you going to utilize when making a Back to the Future ride? You're not going to utilize Biff's forehead, are you?
We use 30,000 watts of audio, 12 channels, all digitally interlocked. It creates a real sound.
As opposed to a fake one.
The film that you watch as you bounce around is projected on a system called Omnimax, which gives you very high-quality pictures that appear to surround you. It was specially produced for the ride, and it's the most expensive 4.5 minutes of film ever made. It cost $16 million.
$16 million. I wonder if that ride is still in operation now. And no, it was closed in 2007 and replaced with a Simpsons ride. There was apparently a Back to the Future ride in Japan that lasted all the way up to 2016, but that one was replaced by a Minions ride, which I think we can all agree is the worst thing that has ever happened on Earth.
BTTF, believe this terrific feeling.
BTTF, boring, tedious time filler.
Or maybe brilliant time travel fun. Or perhaps even back to Tandy and Violet.
Tandy and Violet?
I think he means talented and fiery.
More like embarrassing and fucking anyway. Moving on to news and previews, we've got a new Street Fighter coming out. I guess as there's already been a Street Fighter game and that one got 4 stars, this one will only be a 3-star game.
There are 4 new locations and 4 new challenges, including British Special Agent Cammy, who has an incredible arsenal of moves.
Say that again, Violet.
British Special Agent Cammy, who has an incredible arsenal of moves. Cammy, who has an incredible arsenal.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing there. CDI has a newfangled music disc thing coming out that features 5 tracks and a bunch of shit you likely won't care about. Lastly, Lawnmower Man the game is coming out next month, the greatest movie tie-in game ever made, so that's good. Nam's still having time travel issues.
Oh, right, Furtlers. I think I've just about got that fixed. You join me at a very historical moment. I plan shortly to travel backwards through the space-time continuum to an earlier time. It's terribly dangerous, so first, I leave you with this cheat for alien breed on the Amiga. On the second level, enter the Entex computer and type in...
That's the grossest joystick I've ever seen. Finally, Nam time travels to a point where he can watch himself wank off in a shower.
How old do you think Mario is? 2? 4? 10? Well, it may surprise you to know that this year Mario celebrates his 12th birthday.
Christ, this is old.
Originally, this was an arcade game, but then, just like nowadays, it came out on the home systems, and this old thing is called a Coleco. And as Violet now reports, for some people, systems like this are practically antiques.
If the ColecoVision was practically an antique back then, what is it now? Anyway, Violet's been given her Get Out of Andy free card and she's off to take a look around a place called the Computer Cabin in London.
This was the most popular console of the late 70s and early 80s, the Atari VCS. It had loads of classic games like Space Invaders, Breakout, and this one, Asteroids. Sound was simple, graphics were basic, but it had that all-important factor, playability. But a lot didn't. This is the game E.T. 6 million copies were produced. It was so bad that only 1 million copies were sold.
Well, even back in the early 90s, the E.T. story was being run into the ground, it seems.
In 1981, electronic boffin Clive Sinclair made his first move into home computers.
Who?
Sinclair's ZX81 only had black and white pictures and there was no sound, but it started a whole new phase in the history of computing. You see, it cost under 50 quid and you could program it. Software came on cassettes, which took ages to load. The machine itself was pretty unreliable. Even the computer cabin haven't got one that works.
This seems like such a weird segment for a show in the early 90s. None of this was that long ago. The Spectrum was still my main machine in the early 90s.
These were some of the earliest games for the C64, which was the first Commodore machine to become well established 3 years before the Amiga.
The next segment features a montage of Violet walking about, picking things up, set to 90s music, which I'm pretty sure will get a copyright claim. So over to Stu the Brummy in his magical montage song.
Here comes a flat top with a box tip and a light gun, an obscure Amiga joystick that would not work with Outrun. Where is she going, wandering round on her own? Don't she know that this is a no-go zone? I designed a joystick, well I bet that was shite. Oh, Violet Berlin, keep me up all night. Keep on jumping, till all my blood is pumping. I wanna be your steering wheel, let's get our this bumping. There ain't no better time for us to elope. I will be your man aside, you can use my super scope.
Things have come full circle with a new disc for the PC, Arcade. The disc is brand new. It features conversions of 5 classic games like this one.
Well, there you have it. Repackaging the past was always a thing, even when the past was still the past. Baseball 2020 is the next review, definitely one of the best baseball games because it features robots.
Here I'm against the computer, and my team's fielding. And it's a fast pitch, but he hits it. Will he be out?
Yes, blatantly out.
Now it's my turn to bat. One problem with the game is that it's very hard on player 1. And it's a slow ball. Will it be out, though?
It's clearly a foul ball, you mad woman.
Yes, it's a foul ball. This game is just too hard in one player. If you've got no friends, then don't bother.
Designed for life right there.
This has some very colourful graphics, but not a lot of gameplay.
It's all gameplay. That's literally all the game is. It's a game based on another game. You can't get more gamier than that.
It's a nice game, but I prefer a straightforward baseball game without all the jazzed up bit.
So for you, it's got too much gameplay. Do these guys talk to each other before they announce their opinions at all?
The girls gave it an average 3 out of 5, and the boys thought it was okay too. 3 out of 5 from them.
I mean, based on Bad Influence scoring system, that's probably fair. Next up, it's the next to impossible Alien 3 on the Amiga, and if they thought Battletoads was hard, just wait until you try and beat level 1 on this bugger.
I'm playing Ripley, and on this level I have to rescue 8 different prisoners. It's nice to see a woman rescuing the men for a change.
I bet it is, you saucy devil.
I'm just using my machine gun there, trying to machine gun them down, but it's not very effective. I've just been killed again. I'm going to change to the flamethrower, which is a much better weapon and kills them a lot quicker. But the only thing is that it's a bit slow.
Well, it sounds like he's having a whale of a time.
I'm not one for film conversions. The music was boring and there wasn't variety in the levels.
The spirit of Adam has come back in full force today.
I actually thought this was an excellent game. It's a great conversion from Mega Drive to Amiga.
No, Lakesh, you're wrong. You were the one complaining that Battletoads was too hard. Oh, Lakesh. Oh, Lakesh, you disappoint me.
And the scores for Alien 3, the girls gave it a poor 2 out of 5, and the boys only went one better, an average score of 3 out of 5.
Yeah, that score's about right, even if Lakesh tried to drag it out of the gutter.
Well, future Nam, it's been an honour to meet you.
Right, Nam's section now just seems to be an excuse for whoever is in charge of this shite to throw some special effects on the CV. Just give us the bloody cheats.
1 Nam is more than enough for me.
Damn right. The competition last week was a bag of week-old mints, and this week it's a Jaguar, which is... there's been better. They'll also...
Make it worth your while, because not only will we give you that, we'll send you down to London for a special presentation.
Whatever the fuck that means. And also you'll get a t-shirt, why not? And then it's Data Blast time. So in summary then, the Jaguar is not a 64-bit console, even though it really wants you to think it is. Things that weren't really that old were considered as old things back in the olden days. And BTTF...
BTTF, 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 BTTF...
stands for Back to the Future. See you next time for another episode of Breaking Bad Influence. Hello and welcome back to Breaking Bad Influence, the show in which I point at Andy's shirt and say, "Oh, that's a colourful shirt, Andy." Here we are, halfway through Season 2, and today we'll be looking at the Hanna-Barbera movie studio, as well as Aladdin on the Mega Drive. And I'm not sure what Violet is wearing, but I think it might be awakening something from my teenage years. First though, Violet's going to show us the new Thunder Seat.
What do you get for Christmas for someone who's got everything? Well, if you've got a spare £300, you could get them one of these. It's called a Thunder Seat, and you can plug it into any console or computer, and it makes you feel like you're driving a tank or flying a plane. I'm using it with a brand new fighter flight simulator called TFX. So what does it feel like? If you drop the landing gear, for instance, you can sort of feel a low rumble underneath you. Or launch a missile. There it goes. You can sort of feel it exploding away from you.
So basically it's a seat that tickles your ass while you're playing a flight simulator. But how does it work?
It uses the low frequency or bass sounds from the music you hear when you play the game and feeds them through to this huge speaker in the base of the seat.
Oh, it's literally just a seat with a bass speaker stuck where your arsehole is. Gives a whole new meaning to the term brown noise.
I've got a Thunder Seat at home.
Is it the toilet, Andy?
But enough of me and my eating habit.
Yes, it's the toilet.
Our main review this week is Aladdin on the Mega Drive.
Straight into our first review then, Aladdin on the Mega Drive, a decent Disney platformer. Hopefully they've got someone enthusiastic to talk about it.
This is the best looking game I've ever seen on the Mega Drive.
Never mind.
Here I am in level 4, which is the Sultan's dungeon. Before he gets to the end of the level, Aladdin has to escape by avoiding these balls on chains. I'm getting a bit bored of the game by this time, as all the levels are much the same. This game's got gorgeous graphics and really good music. It's just a shame there's nothing special about the gameplay.
I give this game full marks for the graphics, but it definitely loses points for the gameplay. Beautiful, but dull.
Just like... yeah, ma'am.
Don't be fooled by the graphics. This game looks fantastic, but the gameplay lets it down.
Well, everyone hated Aladdin on the Mega Drive, surprise, surprise. It's a fine enough game, so of course the bad influence kids would shit all over it. What are the scores on the doors then?
And so the final scores for Aladdin, the girls gave it a lamptastic 4 out of 5, mate, and the boys gave it an ingenious 4 out of 5.
Well, I just don't know what to say anymore.
Hello, Thurtlers. After the astonishing success of my time travel experiment last week, I've decided to allow you, my fans, to join in this week's experiment. It's a mind over matter experiment. Together, we are going to attempt to levitate this object.
Okay, quiz time. Nam is banging on about levitation, so what Game Gear game is he about to give a cheat for? I'll give you a clue, it's Shinobi 2. There is never any connection between his skits and the game he's giving a cheat for. I've got no idea why they bother.
He's odd, isn't he?
Next, we're taking a look at the Hanna-Barbera movie studio, and Andy's going to take us through the process of making a cartoon.
But previous animation packages have been designed for use by professionals. This one, though, the Hanna-Barbera movie studio, is designed for use by idiots, which is why I'm demonstrating it. I thought we'd start with something along a fishy theme, so I'll get me a little fish, and I'll reproduce him, and I'll put the fish down here. Now, the grey images that you're seeing is a technique called onion skinning, and what that does, it allows you to position your fish in relation to the previous ones. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Andy Crane's fantastic fishy animation. The great thing about this package is that it comes with pre-programmed stuff of your favourite Hanna-Barbera characters. Now, here's a sneak preview of the Jetsons having a space bomb.
That's enough of that shite, but also it's not, because now we've got an example of stop frame animation, where Andy moves a paper Flintstone character around and take pictures of it in order to create another animation. It's really boring. News and previews time. Zool 2, no one's favourite game, is coming out on the Amiga. Dixons are selling the Lynx for $34.99, which is insane, presumably because it's going out of production.
Now, we think it's easily the best of the handheld systems. It's got great colour graphics and brilliant sound. And if anyone tries to tell you that the Lynx has been discontinued, tell them they're talking tosh. Atari have just released 2 new games for the system, and they promise us this will not go out of production.
Yeah, we'll see about that, Andy. Dennis the Menace game is coming out, the American one, not the good one, and it's a shit game on the SNES, so that's cool. Lastly, there's a portable route planning computer now available, which I'm sure children up and down the country will be absolutely clamouring for.
And now for some more games reviews.
Darkwing Duck review is up next, a good little Mega Man style game, much like every other Disney game Capcom produced on the NES. It's a great little platform game with some really nice touches. But enough of what I think, what do this gaggle of idiots make of it?
This is a great little platform game with some really nice touches.
I know, I just said that.
This level's quite challenging because there's characters coming out all the time ready to kill you. This bit's hard because you have to get your timing completely right, otherwise you fall on the spikes and die. There's helicopters and coming out everywhere at you. You've just got to try and avoid them because they may damage you. The character's trying to kill me again, but I killed him first. I've just fallen on the helicopter, but I'm just a bit startled.
No, you're not just a bit startled. You slipped on a banana peel for the 100th time after hitting pretty much every single enemy on the way there. Good God.
It just goes to show you don't need fancy graphics to make a great game.
The gameplay's quite good here, but the graphics are pretty average. Mind you, that's what you'd expect from an 8-bit game.
I've no idea why they're banging on about the graphics. It's a bloody NES game. It looks fine.
And the scores for Darkwing Duck. The girls gave it an excellent 4 out of 5, but the boys didn't think it was that good and gave it an average 3 out of 5.
Girls are right on the scores with this one. Darkwing Duck is a surprisingly good little title, and graphically it looks the same as literally any other NES game, so just ignore the boys' scores and words on this one because they're being rubbish. Disposable Hero on the Amiga is next. Never heard of it. Curtains is back to give his opinion though, and his hair looks even heavier than last time, if that's possible.
If you're a fan of fast shoot-'em-ups, you'll probably enjoy this game. But be warned, it's very hard. This is one of the bosses on level 2. Surprisingly, he is not the final guardian. It will take a while to destroy. This game is very hard.
Yeah, you've already said that, mate.
You'll realise that the levels are very similar and repetitive.
I'm not sure if he's describing the game or his own review style here.
What I've just collected is money which I can use in shops to buy extra weapons and power-ups. This is yet another boss, but not the final one. I'm just about to collect some money, which I can spend in the shop.
You've literally just said that exact same thing. Is there an echo in here or what?
This game is very hard. This isn't the best shoot-'em-up on the Amiga. It's a good blast, but there's nothing really new about it.
It's too hard, for very experienced players only.
This game is very hard.
Both the girls and the boys thought it was average. They both gave it a throwaway 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5 each? Probably about right. Who knows? The only thing I learned from that review is that it was very hard and you can pick up money to buy things in a shop. Absolutely useless. Namrood's back with another skit about meditation, but more's the point. What's going on with the colour of the buttons on his SNES pad?
Advertising is all about selling things and making them look their best.
What do kids who are interested in video games like more than anything else? Car adverts. And modelling in car adverts. So here we have an incredibly long section about modelling in car adverts.
The intention is to get the lighting and pose as close to the final version as possible. And you don't necessarily need a car there. Make-believe time. This is the back of a car? Now to find out exactly how super a model they can make of me. And so today's task is to make this sketch a reality by putting me in the picture. So which one are we going to use?
Well, it's up to you really. As the model, you can have final choice.
I like that one, but I prefer my eyes in that one.
On the screen, each picture is made up of tiny dots called pixels. The more pixels, the better the picture. For quality work like this...
The editor-in-chief here just blatantly zooming into Violet's chest. Once again, this is a kid's show. Calm yourselves down.
On this picture of the model, the photographer has provided the model with foam pads just to save her knees. But we can retouch those out. What I'm going to do is just draw a mask around the line of the leg. Now here we can see a bit of foam pad where her knee has pressed into the foam. So I'm going to have to draw her knee at that point. And I can copy bits of the picture from one place to the other. That's just what I'm doing here. I'm drawing with her actual skin.
But it was fun while it lasted.
Well, I thought you looked smashing before they flirted with you.
Thank you.
Last week someone won a Jaguar. This week it's a Mega Drive with Aladdin, which is very vanilla at this point. Bring back the Neo Geos. Finally, we're back to Namrood, who's continuing his blatant cultural appropriation. Disgusting. You wouldn't catch any of the others doing that.
Ever omnipotent, the Rood.
Okay, fine, whatever. At least Andy hasn't been too embarrassing this episode for once.
Let's go back to my place with all the lentils.
Okay, fine, whatever. It's Data Blast time. So, in summary then, Bad Influence review scores definitely do not reflect the words that come out of the reviewers' mouths. Dixon's once sold off the Lynx handheld for a measly £35, and Disposable Hero on the Amiga is very hard and you can pick up money to use in the shops. See you next time for another episode of Breaking Bad Influence. Hello and welcome back to Breaking Bad Influence, the show in which I take a look at CITV's classic gaming show and wonder what it's all about. Well, this week it's sort of about Halloween.
Hello, and it is spooky Bad Influence today.
Blech.
We'll be looking at some ghostly games for Halloween, including an exclusive preview of Jack in the Dark.
Stick with me if you run into a fluent Klingon.
I honestly can't think of a worse offer. Meanwhile, Violet is making some money on the side by working on the sex lines.
Up a bit, down a bit.
Not really doing it for me, Violet. Lastly, our main review for this week is Jurassic Park on the SNES.
Afraid of the dark? Scared of things that go thump in the night? Then close your eyes and ears, for Bad Influence is about to take you through some of the creepiest games around this Halloween. Like this one. The full motion video version of Seventh Guest.
Yes, Seventh Guest, everyone's favourite puzzle game wrapped up in a haunted CGI house. This thing was all the rage back in the 90s, but there's really nothing that spooky about doing logic puzzles. Anyway, Andy's loving this Halloween lark.
It won't be available until December.
Enough of him.
Yes, please.
The sequel to the graphically unusual and extremely creepy Alone in the Dark is out in January. It's got a new star called Grace.
Now, you may have noticed that Bad Influence is absolutely rattling through things in this episode, and honestly, that doesn't stop from start to finish. They touch on a subject for about 30 seconds, and then it's straight on to the next thing. By the end of the episode, they're not even doing the Halloween shtick anymore. It's the most rushed episode I've ever seen.
Right, man, take a look at this. Another exclusive for Bad Influence, the first ever showing of Alien Breed 2. There's more sound in the sequel, including synthesized speech, which really sets the scene for 17 levels. 9 different types of aliens chase you around the labyrinth of corridors, laboratories and war zones. And it's really scary, I can tell you.
Jesus, give it a rest. Anyway, they then move on to Zombies Ate My Neighbours and then Bram Stoker's Dracula. No real details provided on any of them, they're just throwing things at the screen and seeing what sticks. Maybe there's something more to all this Halloween thematics, though.
If you're wondering what all this over-the-top Dracula impersonating is all about, it's because earlier this year, Andy was digitised into Mega CD version of Dracula the Game. He was videoed against a blue screen, then the techie Fertlers cut him out and produced a game sequence with him as the star.
Wait, what? Andy Crane is in the Mega CD version of Dracula? Are you serious? Right, pause the show, I'm off to play it, I'll be back. Well, I've got no idea what they're on about. I've just played through the entire thing and it was bloody awful, and not once did I see Andy frigging Crane.
The good news is that Andy's acting career really took off after he did that blue screen stuff. The bad news is that he got left on the cutting room floor. He's not actually in the final version.
Oh, for fuck.
It's been loosely based on the recent film of the same name.
Loosely based is certainly one term for it.
Hello, spooky Fertlers.
Nam's back, and this week's Halloween skit is all about Nam being haunted by a spooky pirate ghost. So, of course, the cheat we get is for Lemmings 2 on the Amiga. The writers for this section never fail.
Right, ghostly dude, take that!
Amazing stuff.
Who are you going to call? Not me.
You're right about that. Now, remember how I said this episode is just filled with random bits that don't really tie together? So far we've had Halloween things going on, and then a load of random games, and then Nam being Halloweeny, but not for the game that was in any way Halloweeny. And now Andy has dropped the spooky stuff altogether, so he can tell us about surround sound again. Something they already did painstakingly in Series 1. And not even at the start of Series 1, it was toward the end. I genuinely think they're running out of ideas. Anyway, let's skip past all that and move straight onto our first review, Jurassic Park on the SNES, and we're going straight in with Nuclear Adam.
I was expecting this to be another dull film license, but after I actually took time to play it, I found it was actually surprisingly good.
Oh, he likes it. That's a shame.
In order to make the raft go across the stream, you've got to shoot that turnstile over there using a shotgun or similar weapon. Jump across here, and anyway, there are 2 styles of games here. You've got the overhead style, which you see, and there's a first-person view inside as well.
Boring, Adam. Boring.
The rocket launcher, which I'm just about to use on him there. See ya.
See ya.
This game will take you ages to finish, so you get plenty of play out of it. If you want to get an exploration game, then you want to get this.
You can see he's not happy that he's enjoyed it. He was raring to go, and they're going to put something half decent in front of him. Poor Adam. Maybe next time.
It's a massive game with loads of options and excellent gameplay.
She has got to be the happiest person on Bad Influence by a long shot.
Even if you're fed up with Jurassic Park by now, you'll still love this game.
And so the final scores for Jurassic Park. Both the boys and the girls gave it an above average 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 each, which is all well and good, but not one person mentions the fact that it doesn't have a save feature, so you have to play it from start to finish in one sitting. It's not a small game by any stretch of the imagination. Come on, Bad Influence reviewers, do your job.
Vec Duge, Ak Duge, Ligi. If, like me, you're a Star Trek fan, and you'll know that was Klingon for, your spaceship is a garbage scow.
Yes, that's right, Trekkies. It's time for Zed to get down and dirty with some alien strange, or... no, actually, he's just in America again, in a comic shop or something.
American games company Spectrum Holobyte are producing computer and console versions of Star Trek. This is the Super NES version. So, how does the game play? And remember, this is an early version.
Okay, well, basically it starts off with you're hailed by this doctor. She's on a planet, and she's being harassed by some Romulans.
Being harassed by some Romulans makes it sound like such low stakes, as if the Romulans are just throwing eggs at a window or something.
Here's the turbo lift, where you decide what characters you'd like to bring down to the planet's surface. You can choose all sorts of different people. Okay, and we're down on the planet's surface.
Jesus wept. This is an ugly game. Why does the floor look like the seat covers you get on stagecoaches?
The artwork for all the various versions of the game has been carefully produced to match the style of the TV series, and then directly digitized into the computer.
Now that looks better.
At the top end of the market, there'll be CD versions of the game.
And that doesn't. Okay, so that's the end of Zed's section, so let's top things up so far, shall we? We've had Halloween games, surround sound, a Jurassic Park review, stuff about Star Trek, so what's next? What's the next logical, exciting thing that Bad Influence is going to tell us? Voice activation on computers, of course.
But there is a new package called Voice Assist that will let you talk to nearly all your PC software. Before you use it, you've got to teach it to recognise your voice, and that couldn't be simple. You just go into training mode. And here are the commands that you'd want it to learn. So let's try maximize. We click on single. And then I click on OK and say the word. Maximize.
Are you excited yet?
I've been teaching it words all afternoon, so let's see if it can recognise them. You do have to remember, though, to click in the top left-hand corner here on the ear, otherwise it's not listening, look.
Ah yes, a system that's designed so you don't need to use a mouse or keyboard, and it requires you to use the mouse in order to switch it on. Classic 90s engineering.
Address. And up it comes. Calculator. 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 Now the problem here is that the system doesn't understand what I'm saying, it just understands the words I've taught it. And the word I taught it for calculator was pumpkin. And there it is. It's called a single utterance speaker-dependent recognition system, which sounds very technical, but it's not if you think about it. Single utterance is just one-word commands to you and me, things like left, right, up, down, enter, and the like.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on, Rood has invented a new bionic wanking arm.
Up! Hey, down!
That's enough of that. News and previews time is next. Elite 2 is coming out, and the frame rate is absolute dog shit.
Massive.
Echo the Dolphin is coming out on the Game Gear, and is shown to us in what is possibly the worst quality game footage I've ever seen. Chess Master is coming to the Game Boy. It's chess, so, you know. And finally, Speed Racer is headed to PC, and it looks like a complete and utter headache. Back to our reviews, we've got Star Wars on Master System. It looks bare balls basic, but let's see what our first reviewer, Angela, thinks.
This is an excellent conversion of one of my favourite films. You have to rescue the Princess Leia, and you won't stop until you've got her. In the early part of the game, you're playing Luke Skywalker, but as you go along, you can change characters. I'm going across here to go get my lightsaber.
No, you're not.
I think the graphics are brilliant.
No, they're not.
This is Obi-Wan Kenobi. If you walk up to him, you can get your lightsaber. I think that's brilliant as that graphic. It just looks like the character from the film. This is a brilliant game and good value at under £30. I'd definitely buy this one.
I think under £30 is over-egging the price point a little there.
I wouldn't bother with this game. There's nothing really special about it to distinguish it from any of this month's other releases.
I thought this was a bit dull. The graphics are good for an 8-bit, but the levels all look the same.
That smile, honestly, she could tell you that she's just set your house on fire with a smile like that, and you'd probably thank her.
And the scores for Star Wars. The girls thought it was a good 8-bit game and gave it an above-average 4 out of 5, but the boys thought it only warranted 3 out of 5.
I think you'll find Adam thought the game only warranted 3 out of 5. No one else's opinion matters when that lad rocks up. F1 on Mega Drive is next, and while I've never played it, I can already tell it's far too fast. What the hell is going on?
You need really good reactions to play this game. It's really fast.
I know, I've just said that.
This is the Japanese track, which is similar to all the others. There's not a lot of detail in the graphics though.
Clearly.
This is a fast game with some good options, but I certainly don't think it's the best racing game ever.
I really enjoy playing this. It's the best racing game out on console.
So we've got this isn't the best racing game, and we've got this is the best racing game. What we really need now is someone with a great big smile to smooth things out.
I'd recommend this to Mega Drive owners. It's really fast and great fun to play.
Thanks, Smiley Lass.
And the scores for F1, the girls gave it a mediocre 3 out of 5, but the boys went up a gear, a fast 4 out of 5 from them.
4 out of 5 and 3 out of 5 for this one. Who cares? We're on to Namrood's final cheat, and this time the skit revolves around golf, because why wouldn't it? So here we go then. Which game do you reckon this skit will possibly lead into? SimCity? Metal Slug? Duke Nukem? Oh, wait, no, it's PGA Tour Golf 2 on the Mega Drive. Well, in an episode of absolutely random subjects, it seems fitting that Nam would finally get his act together.
4,
3, 2, 1.
Haha, number jokes. Someone won a Mega Drive and Aladdin last week. Boring prize. This week it's a SNES with Jurassic Park. Boring prize. And because we couldn't end this episode without another completely random segment that has nothing to do with the rest, Andy tells us there's some Game Boy software coming out that will help you speak different languages. Sure, why not? And then it's Data Blast time, thank God. So in summary then, Andy Crane did not appear in the Mega CD version of Dracula. The writers of Namrood's skits can actually tie them up to a cheat if they put their minds to it. And, I don't know, Chess is coming out on the Game Boy? Or Zombies Ain't My Neighbours is out on the SNES? Or voice recognition? Look, honestly, I don't think we can summarise this one. It was a mess from start to finish. See you next time for another episode of Breaking Bad Influence. Hello and welcome back to another fine mess you've gotten me into. This week Andy's sporting double denim again. We've also got a fireworks display, I'm sure that'll be great. We have controversial Sonic sequels, Sonic Spinball as our main review. Andy and Violet are taking an in-depth look into what makes beat-em-ups so good. And Zed is in America. Still, we can't start things off too exciting. What's first, Andy?
But first, to design our Bad Influence firework display. To do it, I'm going to use a brilliant bit of software. It's called a Firework Display Simulator. I've been playing with this all day, and it's excellent. It's intended, really, for professional firework companies to design displays on and show them to prospective customers. Mind you, professional displays, like what ours is going to be, need to work to split-second accuracy, and this software will let me build up our display frame by frame, second by second. So to start with, I want one of those there, and for symmetry's sake, we'll put one over that side as well.
That's not even remotely symmetrical, Andy, nor is it that interesting.
Catherine wheel, perhaps? Yes, why not? One here, and just because I like the look of them and for no other reason, we'll put one of those there, and one of those there. Now the software will let me see what it looks like from the beginning, please.
What a disgusting mess. I'm looking forward to the real fireworks show later. That's really going to blow us all away.
However, I'm rather proud of my ending, which I've been working on all day. It's Bad Influence in lights.
He's been working on that all day, apparently. All day. Anyway, that was boring. Maybe it's about time for Nam to come in and offend other cultures.
Ah, so, Scrotty Ferners, I've been learning the ancient Japanese art of origami. This is my origami sheep, and this is my origami torch, click, yes, and my favourite of all, my origami violet Berlin. Now...
Damn Shut up!
This first cheat is for a game that we Japanese people call...
Did he just say we Japanese people? It can't get much worse than this.
I wish someone would fold him up.
What? Well, this has all been awful so far, but hopefully our controversial Sonic game review should spark some interest. Firstly, though, Violet mentions that Sonic CD and Sonic Chaos have come out this month. Two games you'd think would be deserving of a review, but no.
Absolutely nothing. This is everything you'd expect from a Sonic game. It's got great graphics and great gameplay.
To be fair, Anti-Violence Kid doesn't really have anything you'd expect from a Sonic game.
They've really thought about this game. There's some excellent touches in it.
Yes, they really thought about everything, whatever that means.
I've just hit that target, and that will drain the slime out of that big tub. And then I can get the emerald inside, which is that blue thing. If you bash the worms, it releases all the little creatures.
If you bash the worm, it lets out a load of little creatures. Classic euphemism for wanking there.
I like the way the levels have been constructed. There's loads put into them, and they link up nicely with the tubes. Just jump in here and collect the emerald. This one's just as good as Sonic 1 and 2.
Whoa there now, Sonny Jim. Just as good as Sonic 1 and 2. I think you're going to be on your own with that opinion.
This game is bright, colourful and brilliant. I'd definitely buy it.
Wow, they really, really like this.
This is a really good idea. There's loads of humour in the game.
Ah yes, everyone's favourite comedy game, Sonic Spinball.
And so the final scores for Sonic's Pinball. For the first time this series, a game gets a maximum. Both the boys and the girls gave it 5 out of 5.
Okay, now, come on. I'm one of those weirdos who actually likes Sonic Spinball, and even I know it's not worth 5 out of 5 across the board. Honestly, if the bad reviews don't convince you that these kids know nout, the good reviews certainly will. Gee whiz, right, off to America it is then, and it appears Zed is starring in an early Saw film prototype.
You don't know me, but I know you. I want to play a game. There is only one key to open the device. It's in the stomach of your dead cellmate.
Not really, of course, he's just doing some sort of computer graphics bollocks. Regardless, it looks super comfy.
5 days of fun.
What the hell is this music?
Hey, what about me? Sorry, pal. My friend the Vactor, or virtual actor, is operated by this contraption called the facial Waldo. It's a brilliant way of generating real-time animation. These sensors track my mouth, cheeks, chin, and even eyebrows, then translate them into the computer so that the character appears to be talking.
Yeah, it's not working too well though, is it, Zed? Seriously, what is this music?
This system, Alive, works without headsets, mice, or any sensors at all, and your whole body appears in cyberspace at once.
Yeah, you just need an entire room painted completely blue. It's accessible to everyone.
Help! The computer's stealing my soul. Not really.
Well, you truly had me fooled for a moment there. The fear in your voice sent shivers down my spine.
And I'm in good company. This very machine was used to produce the face of the T-1000 in Terminator 2. Hey, good likeness, and I can view it from any angle. You don't have to come to Anaheim to enter cyberspace. This is Sick Kids, an area of the show set aside for Teenage Mutant Techies.
Wait, they call themselves Sick Kids. That's just... I don't even know what to say about that.
Catch that, and stretch it out all the way down.
Kids from all over the states are connecting in via the telephone system to transmit pictures and sounds of their neighborhoods. Eventually, the Sick Kids will have a complete library of information about each other to explore.
Now if you can stand with your arms up, or just one arm out like this. Okay, I'll drop it down.
BioVision is yet another way to get inside the computer.
Same thing over here.
This music, man, I am baffled.
Okay, so are you ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
This time I'm wearing very bright reflectors and I'm being filmed by 6 video cameras. The position of the reflectors can be tracked very accurately by the computer software, and it can use the data to produce a stick image. Finally, the software creates a basketball-playing skeleton of me.
Ah, spooky skeleton. Right, that was a load of rubbish. Let's see if Nam is still offending the Japanese.
Flash! Flash! I'm so scrotty furters, I've got a Japanese pet!
冗談でしょ?
Yep, still offending the Japanese. At least he's not doing Asia voice, I suppose.
Christmas, the season of goodwill to all men.
Hold on, I thought the Christmas episode was about 4 episodes ago. The Bad Influence live in some sort of dilated time field.
A question that foxes lots of people, though, is what makes these games so appealing? Well, despite what politicians and adults will tell you, it is not the violence.
I like the way politicians and adults have been put into 2 distinct categories. Anyway, if you're looking for some sort of documentary-style look into why fighting games are so addictive, well, there's none of that. This is Bad Influence. Instead, we're just going to be showing a load of fighting games that are coming out soon, starting with Turtles Tournament Fighter, which for some reason features an angry, uncircumcised penis.
This is tough enough on the SNES, and it has an interesting feature, a video replay option. So when you get to the end of your bout, you can wind it back and watch your victory or defeat in slow motion.
So you get to watch it being shit in slow motion. That's cool.
Body Blows 2 Galactic is one of the few computer beat-em-ups.
And still manages to be awful.
Now we've got Clay characters. Clay Fighter is probably the weirdest fight game you will ever see.
And one of the shittest. More reviews time. Alien Breed 2 is coming out, the sequel to the popular Alien Breed. I'm not even going to hazard a guess as to what the score will be. Let's just find out, shall we?
The original Alien Breed was one of my favourite games, but this one's a lot better. It's certainly faster. This game's designed to be played by 2 players, and it's much better if you do. Oh, that was Katie that just died there.
Katie's just died there, he says, just making sure the audience knows it wasn't him that died. It was Katie. Not him. Katie.
We've only got a certain time, and that buzzing means our time's running out. Katie's just died there.
Did you hear that? Katie's just died again. Not him. He survived. It was Katie that died.
I'd give this game 5 out of 5. If you like shoot 'em ups, you'll love this one.
Bloody hell. Is this just going to be a 5 out of 5 across the board episode?
I thought this game was a bit dull.
Okay, well, yeah, maybe not.
This is an excellent game with great graphics and sound. Unfortunately, it's a little bit hard to get to grips with.
It's a top-down shooter, you bloody doorstop. What have you got to get to grips with?
And the scores for Alien Breed 2, the girls gave it an average score of 3 out of 5. The boys won better, 4 out of 5.
Man, low ball scores there from that one girl they had review it. Speaking of balls, the next game is some tennis rubbish on the links. One of the guys uses the opportunity to try his chat-up line on Sarah.
Prepare to be thrashed.
I think not.
Never mind, lad.
Here I'm 4 love down, and I'm serving to save the game. It's really hard to serve because you got to time it perfectly.
We're watching the game from my viewpoint. You can choose between a hard or grass court. We're playing on the hard court. To be really sure of hitting the ball, you've got to stand around the yellow square.
There's really no way to make tennis sound exciting, is there?
I'd recommend this. It's brilliantly realistic, but it takes a while to get into it first. At least that's Sarah's excuse.
I'll let you win.
Trouble in Paradise.
This is an excellent game with great graphics and sound. Unfortunately, it's a little bit hard to get to grips with.
Is that Anti-Violence Kid's new catchphrase, or... No. Wait, that was the exact same wording as his last review, wasn't it? Let me just play that back.
This is an excellent game with great graphics and sound. Unfortunately, it's a little bit hard to get to grips with.
And the tennis one?
This is an excellent game with great graphics and sound. Unfortunately, it's a little bit hard to get to grips with.
That's exactly the same clip.
This is an excellent game with great graphics and sound. Unfortunately, it's a little bit hard to get to grips with.
Wow, they have really lost the plot in Season 2.
This is the best sports game I've ever played on a handheld.
Wow. Bold claims all over the gaff in today's episode.
Both the girls and the boys gave it a very good 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 each. Nothing surprises me today.
Hasso Scotty Fertilers. I am an expert in the little-known Japanese martial art of Tai Pin.
Oh no. Oh no. He's gone and done it. He's doing Asia voice. We don't get lower than that. Time to spice things up with a fireworks show, because what better way to experience fireworks than by watching them on your TV, safe in the comfort of your own home. Nice, safe fireworks.
3, 2, 1, go!
Amazing!
Last week, someone won a SNES with Jurassic Park. This week, it's a Mega Drive with Sonic Spinball. Someone will get to experience disappointment for free, so I suppose there's that. And then it's Data Blast time. So in summary then, this was an excellent episode with great graphics and sound. Unfortunately, it was a little hard to get to grips with. This was an excellent episode with great graphics and sound. Unfortunately, it was a little hard to get to grips with. And this was an excellent episode with great graphics and sound. Unfortunately, it was a little hard to get to grips with. See you next time for another episode of Breaking Bad Influence. Hello and welcome back to Breaking Bad Influence, a series which predates South Park but apparently inspired it. In today's episode we have the A to Z of computers and computing, which is a shame. We also have a review of Bomberman on the SNES, and Zed has a new Coolio haircut, so that's exciting. Tell you what's not exciting though.
Good, he's gone. Specially designed for those who long to go diving but don't want to get wet. Oceans Below for the PC takes you on an underwater voyage of all the world's most interesting diving locations. So you start off on this map, you can go anywhere you want. Let's check out the Caribbean.
Let's look at a more detailed map so you can select an area to explore.
Okay, so here we are. Let's check out Cozumel. That sounds pretty exotic.
We're now in Cozumel.
Good, because that's where I want to be.
Bit sassy, Violet.
All these icons along the bottom here let you do different things. If I click on the binoculars, it'll give me more information about Cozumel.
Caressing the northeast tip of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula.
Well, if it's caressing the northwest tip of Mexico, I definitely want to go there.
You can tell Violet really doesn't give half a shit about this app, considering she's talking over literally all of it.
So let's go in for a dive. You get all these movie sequences whenever you dive down or come up again, and they're all different depending on where you're diving.
And they're all tiny.
Okay, so now we're on the seabed, and this little pointer turns into glasses whenever you can look more closely at something. Let's check out the fish.
Long live the queen angelfish.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Long live the queen angelfish.
Violet, calm your tits. You're going about 200 miles an hour.
What's this statue?
You don't see a bronze statue of Christ every day underwater.
Nope, you don't. Don't.
Someone fetch her medication. She's gone off the rails.
What's this over here?
Don't worry, airplanes don't fall out of the sky in Cozumel.
On the box, it says that this is the closest thing you'll get to diving without getting wet.
Man-made
But
objects like
personally, I think I'd rather get wet.
Speaking for all women there, Violet. Namrood's having a boring dream, which is fine because he's got a cheat for Kirby's Dream Land, so at least it, fits. Although it does seem to pull off the exact same gag as the Time Machine episode, so clearly they're just clutching at straws at this point.
You can start the game giving Kirby a maximum of up to 9 lives. There you go. Hey, right. Oh, hello, Footloose. What a weird dream.
Anyway, back to Andy, and I think he might be missing Ed the Duck.
This little chap is the star of our main review this week, aren't you? Oh, yes. It's Super Bomberman on the SNES. You get trapped in a variety of mazes, don't you? Oh, yes. And to escape, he has to plant bombs and blow up everyone else before they blow up him, don't you? Oh, yes. You look so sweet, though. Hey, who's doing the review? It's Aisha.
This is potentially the last image you see before being murdered. Straight into Bomberman with Goth Lass, and look, I don't want to gloat that I was right in episode 1, but she's looking decidedly more gothy right now. Just putting that out there that I was right.
This is really the best way to play it. You can use 4 players altogether and the game really comes into its own. It gets a bit hectic at times though. The idea of it is to bomb each other, and someone's just killed me, and the one who's left at the end wins. In order to play 4 players though, you need a special piece of equipment called the multi-tap. The graphics and gameplay are pretty simple, but it's very playable. In fact, it's seriously addictive.
Must be all that death and destruction she loves so much. I think that's the first good word she's had to say about a game in about 5 weeks.
This is a brilliant conversion from an old Amiga classic.
This is an excellent game and brilliant fun to play.
Literally not a bad word to say about the game from anyone. So what, 5 out of 5 each?
And so the final scores for Super Bomberman, the girls gave it an enthusiastic 4 out of 5, and the boys gave it an explosive 5 out of 5.
Of course not, don't be stupid. No game can match the greatness of Sonic Spinball after all.
You can never be sure with the weather, can you? Even here in the studio, they say there's a 1% chance of rain. You want to watch it, Violet, with your luck, you'll be in the 1% zone.
Pretty sure this could be classed as workplace bullying. Anyway, here comes Zed. He's got some stuff to say about the weather, but it's boring. His haircut did get me thinking, though, that perhaps we've been spending most of our lives living in a computer paradise.
The last word is ball till you fall. I mean, get as much money as you can before you die.
The weather is the hardest thing to forecast because the wind, clouds, and atmosphere together make a very complex system. you need enormous computing power to make all the necessary calculations to work out what's happening now. Never mind what's going to happen in the future. One of the world leaders in developing computers for use in weather forecasting. This awesome beast is the most powerful machine they make here, and it's called the CM5. It costs a cool $30 million, and is a parallel computer. Ordinary computers have only one processor.
You say
future.
You say
future.
You say
future.
What's crack-a-lack? You say
power.
You say
power.
You say
power.
What's crack-a-lack?
Future. Power. Future. Power. Future. Power.
What's crack-a-lack?
What's crack-a-lack?
Say it with me. What's crack-a-lack?
What's crack-a-lack?
Weather forecast.
Hello again, Scrotty Furtless. I've built my very own supercomputer.
This is potentially the last image you see before being murdered.
But unlike any other Scrotty supercomputers you may have seen on this programme, I've made mine entirely out of tiny, miniature components. And this is it. I call it the Small Parallel Operations Transputer, or SPOT for short. I can program it by inserting my finger into this orifice.
Oh, my.
I think I'll ask you for a cheat for Prince of Persia on the SNES. So here we go. Prince of Persia. Ow! On the SNES. Ow!
Seems like a lot to go through instead of buying an action replay. Anyway, time for another review. It's Burning Rubber on the Amiga and it looks cack.
This is a very basic game with no redeeming features. The graphics are very poor and the car handles very badly, no matter which one you choose.
Straight in there. Good going, lad.
You get this really odd view out of the car. You're looking out of your front window and you see your own car in front of you.
I think this fella might be my spirit animal.
This is a Barcelona track. After a while of watching it, the banding on the road made me feel sick, and it's really obvious that the road is moving instead of the car.
He might not have the fire of Adam, but he's certainly not pulling any punches.
The background is absolutely pathetic. There's nothing in it. There's no detail on the game, and the obstructions are really unrealistic. Nowhere in the world has these lumps of rock on it. The car looks like a cardboard cutout. It's got no perspective whatsoever. Can't see the point of this game. There are loads of good race games on every system, and this has nothing new to offer.
I think I'm being more than generous giving it 1 out of 5. The graphics are rubbish and there's no playability.
Gothlas gives it a good kicking. Granted, it's certainly not as good as Disintegrated by The Cure, so I'll give it that.
The graphics are poor, and it's no fun to play.
And the scores for Burning Rubber, not good, I'm afraid. The girls gave it 2 out of 5, and the boys a dreadful 1 out of 5.
Well, it's as good as that Garfield game. No surprise there, really. Probably the first time I can wholeheartedly agree with the mad children in a good long while. Thunderhawk is up next, and Lakesh is back in the pilot seat, and in true Season 1 fashion, he forgets that he's supposed to be talking about the game halfway through and just leaves a beautiful, awkward pause.
This game's been around in the Amiga for a couple of years now, and it's been revamped and restyled for the Mega CD, and it looks better than ever. The aim in this level is to destroy all the pirates in the South China Seas. I have to destroy gunboats. As you can see, the graphics are excellent, as is the sound. However, due to the limited amount of colours, sometimes it's hard to see where your targets are. The sound is telling you in which direction to go.
And then he just goes on to say the first things that come into his head.
There's many missions in this game, about 50 in all. You have very many different targets. You have to destroy gunboats, tanks, communication centres, even the odd aeroplane. It's fast, it's playable. It's the best game yet for the Mega CD. Unmissable.
I love the music, and the graphics are fantastic. It's worth getting a Mega CD for.
Well, don't sound too excited about it.
It's a heroic game with brilliant music and amazing scrolling. It's great fun.
Well, don't sound too excited about it.
And the scores for Thunderhawk, the girls gave it full marks, 5 out of 5, but the boys marked it down slightly for having less than perfect control, 4 out of 5 from them.
Ah yes, but Sonic Spinball, that's known for its absolutely perfect control, isn't it? Yes, no complaints there. Sonic Spinball is clearly the greatest game ever made. All other games pale in comparison. Next up, we've got the A to Z of computing, and it's as dull as dishwater, so instead of subjecting you to that crap unaided, I went to musical friend of the channel,
Stu the Brummie,
and asked him to jazz it up for me. Not literally, I don't think he can do jazz. Anyway, here's the A to Z song.
A and crane, B the boss, end of level baddie, C a console or computer. D, a disc, floppy or hard. E, it's an exclusive. F, it's a furtler. G, it's the graphics. H, hardware, interactive, joystick, kilobytes. L, level select, you cheater. M, the motherboard. N, I'm rude or doorman. O, obsolete, chuck it away. P, PC or personal computer. Q, or QWERTY, the keys on the keyboard. R, reality, virtual or otherwise. S, sprite, a two-dimensional bitmap. T, techie talk. U, a user-friendly. V, vaporware. Where is it? W, Windows. X, rated. Y, yogurt. Z, that's right.
You may have noticed there that Andy Crane was mentioned, Rood was mentioned, Zed Wright was mentioned, and even some random dude called Furtler from behind the scenes was mentioned. I didn't even realise Furtler was a real name. Anyway, what did they choose for V? Vaporware. Vaporware. Not Violet Berlin. Vaporware. Just let that sink in.
The largest land mammal is the African elephant, which can weigh up to 7 tons. On a right-angled triangle, the square on the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares on the other two sides.
Nam's last segment involves being sped up and then sneezing into his hand. Why not? Last week's competition prize was Earth's greatest game, Sonic Spinball, and a Mega Drive. This week it's a SNES and Bomberman, plus a Tits Wicked backpack. And finally,
has anyone ever told you that you play computer games for too long? Oh, come on, they must have done it one time or another. Well, now I'm sad to say the forces of dullness have a new secret weapon. It's called the moderator, and it will work on any system. Basically, what it does is control the amount of time you have to play the game. You see, I'll have to wait another half an hour now before I can continue with Castle of Illusion. What the moderator is basically an electronic time switch, and inside we've got the console's mains lead sealed in and some switches that control the on and off time periods. Be careful though, it's not been approved by the console manufacturers, so if you're using your system with the moderator and it goes down the tubes, it might invalidate your guarantee. If you do what I've done and tamper with it, you'll be in big trouble because you can't get the seals back on again. There's also electronic jiggery-pokery inside which will shut the whole system down if you start meddling with it.
so it's a system that just does parenting for you? It can't cost that much, surely. It's basically a timer attached to an on-off switch.
It seems a shame that parents who buy this can't trust their offspring to stop playing games when it's time to do their homework or when they've had enough. And the thing doesn't even tell you when it's about to shut the power off so you can't save your game. I bet it won't be top of your Santa list, but there are some parents, I'm sure, who will shell out $49.99 when the thing is released later this month.
50 quid? Jesus, hey Christ. Anyway, it's data blast time, so, in summary, if you have to review boring applications on PC, just rush through it and don't give it a moment to talk back. No game will ever live up to the standard set by Sonic Spinball, and parents would apparently prefer to spend 50 quid on a box that potentially damages your console rather than just ask you to switch it off for a bit. See you next time for another episode of Breaking Bad Influence. Yar, avast ye saucy software pirates, and welcome to another disappointing episode of Ye Olde Breaking Bad Influence. This week, we be talking about piracy.
Welcome to Bad Influence. If you've ever copied a game, you've broken the law.
And that's enough of that voice. We'll also have a review of Super Yoshi's Super Scope rubbish, and also, remember that one episode that was about modelling? Yeah, this one is about dressmaking. Hurrah.
But first, ever fancied yourself as a TV director?
No.
You have?
I said no.
Then step in here.
He just won't take no for an answer. Fine, get on with it.
Concern, this is where it all happens. Directing in television is an easy job. You sit in a chair like this, you look at a bank of monitors, and you let the vision mixer do it all for you.
Don't be surprised if this is Andy's last episode.
Brenda is our Bad Influence vision mixer, and she uses this great bank of switches and buttons to choose what you see at home, whether that's cameras, or Z's Fun from America, or the reviews, or whatever. So how does it all work then, Brenda?
This is a basic cut where picture changes.
I bet she's just keeping an eye on those filthy children, making sure they don't steal any supervisions.
This is a mix where it dissolves.
Right.
That's a wipe.
It's
good. A bit jazzier wipe. And an even nicer one.
So she has all of these wipes at her fingertips. Why is it that we've never seen a single one of them on any episode of Bad Influence? Just a hard cut every time. Thousands of pounds of equipment here, and they can't even be bothered to randomly mash buttons.
To be honest, vision mixing is one of the hardest jobs in telly, and if you've got a Mega CD, you can try it at home now. This system over here will let you make your own pop promos or videos for C&C Music Factory. It contains video footage from C&C's own videos and also some sort of wacky black and white footage from vintage films.
Yes, just what children enjoy playing with. A director's studio that only has access to early 90s rave music and black and white film footage.
It's a bit basic though, and it does get boring very quickly.
Just like your mum.
There are other discs available though, with music from In Excess and Criss Cross.
Oh wow, In Excess and Criss Cross. My dreams have been fulfilled, but in all seriousness, I do actually want to play with those.
And the worst thing is you can't speed up the process at all. It takes ages. You've got to watch the video all the way through when you make it, and then all the way through at the end.
Well, now you're just describing the process of making a Breaking Bad Influence video. I feel so seen.
Not brilliant, actually, but there's my effort. Vision mixing team, what do we think?
Rubbish.
Ah, God, it's exactly like making a Breaking Bad Influence video.
If you've got one of these, a super scope for the SNES,
You're probably middle class.
you're probably fed up with playing the same old games that you got with it last Christmas.
Close enough. Anyway, we all know this game is rubbish. It went down in history as the game that put the knee into the Super Scope's lifespan, so fingers crossed they've got Adam on the case. Nope, we've got this lad. Again. Prepare your yawning muscles.
This is the stage select screen where you can choose one of 7 stages to do in any order. I'm doing level 2, all the others are familiar Mario settings as well. In this game you play Mario riding on Yoshi's back around the land. You have to shoot all the Goombas and Koopas. If you shoot them you get coins. If Yoshi accidentally gets hit by a Koopa, then he gets dazed. Also, if you shoot him by accident, he gets a little plaster on the back of his head.
Very important information, thanks for bringing that up.
To destroy him, you have to shoot the pink sphere on his back, and also the green fireballs he fires at you. He takes absolutely ages to destroy, just like all the other bosses in this game. It gets really, really boring after a while.
Oh, hello. Was that an actual opinion?
I also have to jump over these ice barriers. If you don't actually make the jump, then you skid over the ice and it drains your energy quite a lot. The game scrolls like Mario Kart, but it's nowhere near as much fun to play. In this game, there's nothing to do but shoot.
It is an opinion.
Definitely the best game on the Super Scope so far. That's not really saying much if you've seen the others. Overall, this is a really tedious game.
Yeah, boy, he's finally done it. It only took 11 episodes, but he's finally said something about a game that isn't listed in the manual. Good work, man, good work.
It's a good blast, but not very challenging.
No smile from Smiley Lass there. You know this is going to get a shit score.
This is the first decent game for Super Scope, but it's not to standards of the other Mario games.
Ladies and gentlemen, place your bets. Let's see the scores on the smelly doors.
And so the final scores for Yoshi's Safari. The girls gave it an excellent 4 out of 5, but the boys only an average 3 out of 5.
I mean, you could probably see that coming, right? Always remember, ignore the words, roll the dice, carry the 1, and there's your score. What a load of bobbins. Anyway, it's time for Nam's first section. So far, he's been offensive to other cultures and other races. Who else can he possibly upset?
Ah, hello, depressing footers. I'm really depressed and I've written a blues song.
Depressed people, of course. Those guys have been on their high horse for far too long.
I woke up this morning, all crumpled in the sheets.
This is a bit boring. Let's see if we can jazz it up.
I woke up this morning, ready to do some cheats. I woke up this morning, feeling really bad and so sad, yeah. 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 I'm in a huff, so here's a cheat for tough enough. Feeling really bad and so sad, yeah. Feeling really bad and so sad, yeah. Feeling really bad and so sad, yeah. Brilliant! What a great cheat! Woke up this morning, feeling so happy. I mean, I was really depressed, obviously, actually.
Yep, that's how depression works.
Okay, kids, get them while they're hot. I've got Zool 2 for a £5. No, I'm robbing myself. 4 quid, no, 3, 2 quid. 2 quid, and I'll give you 3 for a £5. Sold to the boy in the green t-shirt.
Actually, it's illegal to copy discs, let alone sell the copies.
Busted.
Yeah, well, I was just kidding. Actually, Violet's right. Piracy is against the law, and you can get into serious trouble if you get involved in it. This was a raid organised by the police at a car boot sale last year. Markets and car boot sales are the main outlet for pirated games, and it's big business. So far this year, 47,000 pirate discs have been seized. Programmers have come up with different ways to protect their software. There's the code wheel, of course, and we've all spent hours and hours flicking through a manual looking for keywords.
Well, not hours and hours, Andy. What sort of bloody manuals have you been flicking through?
Although this disc is copy protected, a copy program like this one can copy everything on it onto a blank disc. The result? A perfect copy, but with the protection still in it.
That's illegal, Violet. You've just made a copy, you big illegal criminal. I can't believe you've done this live on air. How will you live with yourself? How could you do this? I am distraught. Distraught.
Now, what I've just done is strictly illegal, so I'm going to destroy the copied disc.
Oh, thank goodness for that. I genuinely thought I was watching the downfall of the software industry right in front of my eyes.
People say the games are too expensive, but the games manufacturers say that for every 1 floppy disk sold at full price in the shops, there are 8 or 9 copies in circulation. That's why fewer and fewer games are being developed for floppy disks. And if you've got any copied games at home, you're breaking the law too. So what you should do with them is chuck them in the bin.
Yeah, I'm sure bin men up and down the country were wondering why there was such an influx of floppy disk wastage in the early 90s when this aired. Right, well, I suppose we'd better get on with it then. It's time for the Bad Influence Close show.
This is a crucial part of the process. I'm being pinned by Nicola for a prototype of my new design. It's always done in this plain fabric as the real stuff's too expensive to risk cutting if it's not right. Earlier on, I began designing this dress. Not just the shape of it, but the pattern on the pattern on the fabric too.
She's well happy with that near fatal stabbing.
I'm using our Bad Influence logo to create a new design. First I scan it into the computer, then it's ready for me to play about with and place it anywhere I want. I've decided on this repeat design.
So Violet has designed, I'm doing air quotations here, a new dress by using an already designed logo and then applying a default pattern to it. Now, call me a cynic, but I don't think that's proper dress designing.
And I can now check out how the fabric will move.
Wow, that's helpful.
And now for the exciting bit, designing the shape of the dress. This software already has a library of pattern pieces, so I can choose one that's close to the dress that I want and alter it to suit. First, I can see what the pieces will look like in 3D. I'm not happy about the shape here, so I've come back to the flat pattern pieces to alter them. I'm definitely shortening the length.
You harlot.
Lastly, I'm checking out how the pattern on the fabric will match up on the joins.
I think you'll find that the answer is not very well at all.
After all that pinning, Nicola's decided to plunge in and cut the real fabric. She's a lot more confident than I am.
Well, it is her job.
The one part of the whole fashion business as yet untouched by computers is the catwalk model, but even that's about to change. This is Gloria. She doesn't cost an arm and a leg, and she doesn't have tantrums. She also walks a bit funny.
She's got rickets, Violet, and she doesn't like it being brought up.
It's a bit like a Cindy doll or an action man, and all the movement is rather plastic and wooden. So what we've been doing...
Ah, spooky skeleton.
Adding flesh to that skeleton, adding muscles to the flesh, and we see...
Actually, screw the skeleton. Jesus Christ, that's like a Cronenberg horror. Completely unnecessary.
Watch out, Naomi Campbell. You've got competition.
Yes, well, I don't think Jean-Paul Gaultier or Fatty Osbeck have got too much to worry about, have they?
Says the guy who wears double denim on the regular. Anyway, it's news and previews time, and this week there's a charity bundle for the Mega Drive available, supporting Childline and the Prince's Trust. For just £50, you can get Sonic 2, Indiana Jones, and Bart's Nightmare. I feel like you're basically buying Sonic 2 and giving the rest to charity at that point.
If you want to be seen to be mean when you're playing your games, it's no use just slobbing around. No, you need Cred new gameware by Future Shooter.
Did he just say Cred New Gameware by Future Shooter.
Cred New Gameware by Future Shooter.
Yeah, I think he did.
Who better to try it out than our very own super nerd, Rood. Billed as clothing for screen warriors. It includes jackets and bags and hats and sweatshirts featuring this cool dude. And here's what it looks like on.
I can see where E17 got the look from at any rate. Lastly, some rally tournament thing is starting, so there's a new RAC rally game coming out, and if the twists and turns don't make you sick, I'm sure the frame rate will. Back in Nam's shed, he's been making a
Vertling jacket, it's great.
which we all know he's wearing when he jumps out of the bushes. Moving on, we're back to piracy again, because apparently there wasn't enough preaching in the last 5-minute segment.
But take a look at this little lot. This little lot, with the exception of 3, are all fake cartridges. Mind you, some are easier to spot than others. These both purport to be Super Star Wars for the SNES, but no prizes for guessing which is the original and which is the fake. That's the real one and that's the fake. I mean, just look at the label. It's awful.
I think you'll find that's the best looking box art of the 16-bit era, Andy.
Gets a bit better, though, with this Spider-Man for the Game Gear. This is the genuine one. This is the forgery. But it's a good picture. The box is all right, but it's completely the wrong shape and the wrong size.
If anything, the pirated version is handier to carry around because it's smaller, so that's another plus point for piracy.
Best forgery I've seen is probably this one, for Olympic Gold for the Mega Drive.
And it isn't plastered with sponsor logos, so you get a better look at the lovely artwork instead of being advertised to. I mean, really, you're just making piracy sound more appealing at this point.
The cartridge itself looks just like a Mega Drive cart, although there are no instructions, and with fake games, there are very rarely instructions. Sometimes you get a photocopied A4 sheet.
Well, no one reads the manual anyway, that's what hotlines are for.
And be careful, if you use a fake cart, it might blow up your system.
And a free fireworks display, that's it. I'm off to join the high seas.
We got this in Pakistan, and you can get one here if you know where to look. Basically, it copies your cartridge game down onto a floppy disk, then you can get rid of your cartridge and play the game from the floppy disk through your SNES. It's very easy to use and highly illegal, as are other so-called backup devices sold by various shady characters.
I feel like describing the thing as very easy to use is only making everyone envious. No one is listening to the highly illegal speech.
At the moment, the manufacturers are one step ahead of the pirates because of these. CDs are relatively cheap to produce and at the moment almost impossible to copy.
Well, that's it then. Piracy has been resolved. No more piracy.
Although we have heard that there are already some bootleg copies of Mega CD games available in the Far East.
Right, forget that. Piracy's back on, lad.
The moral of the piece is simple. Don't copy software. It's illegal, it's stealing, and you could be prosecuted for it. And it makes games more expensive for everybody.
Apart from the people pirating them.
And if you come across dodgy software, don't buy it. Tell your local trading standards office.
I honestly didn't think Bad Influence could get any cooler, but this is the peak right here. Let's move on to another review, shall we? On an official cartridge, none of that pirated bullshit. It's Oscar on the Amiga, and it looks like every platformer ever made on the Amiga.
This is a brilliant idea for a game. All the levels represent different types of films. This is a horror level. In it, you've got to collect 15 Oscars for this level anyway. And when you've found them all, you've got to go to the clapperboard. I'm just collecting my yo-yo. This is the only weapon you'll get. You can kill things with it, or you can hang off walls, which is pretty hard.
Sounds great so far.
This elephant lets me go back to there when I die. Just collected an Oscar. And this potion lets me go invisible. But it's hard because I can't see where I am.
Yep, that's invisibility for you.
A brilliant new hero and excellent playability.
There's been a lot of time and effort put into it, and it shows.
This is a great idea for a game. The character's very appealing and moves really well.
Big smile from Smiley, lass. That's a positive sign. What do we reckon for scores then? Go on, have a guess. I'm not even going to give you any time to make that guess. I'm just going to carry on playing the footage as soon as I finish this sentence.
And the scores for Oscar, both the girls and the boys awarded it top marks, 5 out of 5.
Yep, there you go, girls and boys. Oscar on the Amiga and Sonic Spinball on the Mega Drive are currently this season's best games. What a horrific parallel world they all live in. Next up, Last Action Hero on Game Boy.
The film was a bit of a dud. How does the game shape up?
Well, Andy's already slagged the film off. That's a good start.
This is basically a beat-em-up platformer, loosely based on the film Last Action Hero. I'm playing the Schwarzenegger character, who is a film hero trapped in a real world. He needs to collect these tickets so he can get fire extinguishers to progress further in the game.
I had to rewatch this about 3 times before I understood what he was saying. You have to collect tickets so you can get fire extinguishers So you can win the game. What does that even mean?
More tickets mean more fire extinguishers.
Alright, thanks for clarifying.
Jumping over a gap, kill another baddie. Jump over a gap, kill another baddie. It's just too repetitive.
I mean, it does look pretty bad, but it'd probably help if you were stood next to the person you're trying to kick in the face.
This is the worst Game Boy game I've ever played. It's way too hard. It's difficult to see. There are lots of better beat-em-ups.
It's good fun, but too hard. This sort of game does not work on the Game Boy.
So it's fun, but it's also hard, and also it doesn't work on the Game Boy. Quite a mix of words there.
This game's too ambitious for the Game Boy.
Too ambitious, he says. Well, that's got to be worth something. So, points guessing time. I'll leave it up to you. You've got 32 seconds to guess. Okay, I'm bored. Here's the scores.
The scores for Last Action Hero. For the first time ever, both the boys and the girls gave a game a dreadful 1 out of 5. Looks like one to miss.
Now, look, I'm not saying it isn't worthy of a 1 out of 5 across the board. It doesn't look great. But the fact this is the first game to get this so far speaks a few volumes, and none of them are good volumes. Anyway, we go back to Nam, who's doing yet another repeated joke about duplicating himself.
Whoa! 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 Uh-oh!
Tell a lie, it's not a repeat joke, it's a new joke, because there's 3 of them now, and also they say, uh-oh, which, let's be honest, is pretty clever stuff.
3 good reasons not to copy anything.
Jesus, Andy, give it a rest. We've all stopped pirating things. You can get off your high horse. Competition time. Last week was Bomberman, a SNES, and a delightful backpack. This week is a Last Action Hero jacket, after slagging off the film and the game, a CD player, the Last Action Hero soundtrack, and the Rood CD again. Is it real? Is it not real? I just don't know anymore. Finally, we have some infrared pads for all those people who really like to make sure their pad is constantly pointing in the correct direction when they're playing. And then it's data blast time. So in summary then, piracy is bad and making copies of discs makes baby Jesus cry. Oscar on the Amiga is the best game since Sonic Spinball. And where can I find a copy of the Rood CD? See you next time for another episode of Breaking Bad Influence. Hello and welcome back to Breaking Bad Influence, the show in which Andy Crane doesn't half go on. This week we're looking at a big computer capable of producing the most rudimentary of amazing graphics. Our main review is Jungle Book on the Game Gear, and Zed is in America. He always is. First up, Violet is showing us the soon-to-be-released theme park, or as she describes it,
It's a do-it-yourself amusement park kit.
which is technically correct, but I've also never heard it described like that, and I don't like it.
So we go to this panel of icons at the side here and choose the ride icon. Click on that, get all the choices. There are loads to choose from: plane flyer, race car ride, merry-go-round. That's a good one. That's a teacup ride, so I'm going to choose that. That's one of my favourites.
Well done, Violet. Choose the most boring theme park ride you can to really show off the game.
Balloon World, that sounds good. They can all have balloons, that can make them happy. Click that there, and there it is. So far, so simple, but actually it does get quite complicated. I'll take you on a tour of the park and show you. If we go up here, I'll show you my fantastic roller coaster, which was, in fact, working earlier on, but it broke down, and I put this maintenance man in the corner here on to fix it, but he's just spent so long having his tea break that it's still broken down.
If it was up to Violet, these engineers wouldn't even have tea breaks. She's an absolute slave driver.
One of the best things about the game is that all the people have a mind of their own, and there's sort of a knock-on effect. For example, if you don't maintain your park properly, hordes of bikers will turn up, vandalise your rides, and beat up your punters.
Just like real life, I guess?
Potions!
From theme park to potions, which is Nam's new thing this week, and basically it results in him talking fast, which is yet another repeated joke. They're definitely out of ideas at this point.
Enter the name as hang on exclamation mark with a dash in the middle, then select end, then start the race and retire, then start the race again and retire again, and then on the driver's point racing table, save the round on number 6, then reset.
Enough of that though, let's go straight into our first review for Jungle Book on the Game Gear, and here comes the Atom Bomb.
Yes, it's another film license, and yes, they've turned it into another platform game, but unlike in the film, Mowgli gets to kill things,
I'm starting to think that Adam's obsession with violence is a little worrying. I mean, he's only 3 sentences or so into his review, and the one thing he points out is that Mowgli gets to kill things. I'd love to have seen him do a review of Mortal Kombat. Honestly, I think he might actually just orgasm himself out of existence.
The graphics are drawn pretty nicely here in a Disney style, although a couple of them don't animate too well, like the crocodile. The Mowgli sprite's okay, and so are most of the enemies. It plays music from the film, although because the Game Gear can't handle sound too well, they don't sound wonderful, but they can't really be blamed for that.
I'm gonna be honest here, Adam sounds bored out of his mind.
Warning to parents buying this for their kids at Christmas. It's not a cute game with no violence in it, it's a cute game with lots of violence in it.
Once again, he brings up the violence, but looking at the footage on the screen, it's hardly going to warp the minds of young children, is it? Mowgli is just throwing bananas at animals until they disappear in a cloud of dust.
A great game with great music and graphics for the Game Gear.
I didn't like the gameplay, and it's not true to the film. It's disappointing for such a big title.
Some very mixed reviews overall. Adam just sounded bored. That one lass they got in seemed to love it, and then this lad seems to hate it. Also, someone pointed out that this boy and girl may well be sister and brother. They certainly have a similarity. I wonder if they are sister and brother. What a question. And contemplating that question is definitely more interesting than Jungle Book on the Game Gear.
And so the final scores for Jungle Book, both the girls and the boys gave it an above average 4 out of 5.
Or maybe not, because even with mixed reviews, it hit a 4 out of 5 across the board, almost as if it's going to be a prize this week. Just keep rolling those dice. Zed has gone to a rave, or no, wait, he's at the Boston World Trade Center for some sort of electronics event.
This is Mandela. Using blue screen and computers together, I can actually be part of the game. The computer can tell where the edge of my body is on the screen.
It's amazing to think that at this point in time he had to go to an event in a specific room with a big blue wall to play a version of Sony's iToy, which everyone owned in the late 2000s, and we've already left it behind. Technology moves fast, but I guess technological fads move even faster.
This ride takes all the ingredients of other simulators and adds an extra ingredient, G-Force, to make the experience as realistic as possible. Inside, I'm going to be driving an Indy car, which is a very fast racer. See you later. I can do over 200 miles an hour and pull 1.7 Gs, which is as much as most bodies can safely stand without risk.
That was literally the worst driving I've ever seen, and that's also the end of this segment, which seems like an awful lot of money to spend on such a tiddly segment of the show. Anyway, news and previews time. Stardust is coming out on the Amiga. Pretty amazing to think that this is a series that's still getting new games. Winter Olympics is coming out on various consoles. Pretty amazing to think that this is a series that's still getting new games. Skyblazer is coming out for the SNES. Pretty amazing to think that this is a game I've never seen before in my entire life. Lastly, there's Cyber Ace on the PC. It looks horrid.
Tear across planet surfaces, dodging obstacles and fire from other ships. With a huge adventure subplot, sample speech, tons of ship upgrades, this will be a biggie.
Probably not, Violet. The game doesn't even have a Wikipedia page from what I can see, and only about 10 pages on the entire internet even talk about it. Back to Nam, it's time for them to use another new special effect they've found.
Oh no! I thought that was the antidote, but it's actually enlarge!
Oh, well at least it stopped the end fast.
Amazing stuff.
Whoa!
Whoa! Oh no! The end's small, it wasn't diluted.
Nam Rood, small but perfectly formed.
There you go, lads, new nickname for your penis.
There's an American computer company whose name you probably don't know, but whose work you'll certainly have seen. Their machines are responsible for the stunning computer graphics seen in movies like Jurassic Park and Terminator 2. The latest virtual reality simulators look so good because of the speed and power of this company's hardware. And with Nintendo, they're now working on a home machine which should be ready in 2 years' time. The company's name? Silicon Graphics. And whilst nobody knows anything about the home machine...
Yes, we do. It's the N64. Keep up, Violet.
This is what their professional models can do. All these images were produced on one of their most powerful workstations, the funkily named Onyx Reality Engine 2.
And today, at great expense, it's here in the Bad Influence studio. If you want one of these for Christmas, it will cost you a cool £250,000.
I'm sure they've kept their value. I bet it can't run Crysis, though.
The computer's having to do millions of calculations a second to work out what each part of the picture should look like. As we move round it, we can zoom in and out, we can spin it to the left and to the right. It's calculating the way the light is reflected, how the shadows fall. In fact, the calculating power of the Reality Engine 2 is 200 times that of a PC.
Okay, look, I'm going to be honest with you. The next 5 or 10 minutes are taken up with Andy explaining the ins and outs of texture mapping, and far be it from me to say that texture mapping isn't that hilarious, but it's really not that hilarious, so I'm going to see what's on the other channel.
What you're saying, Dave, is the biggest game of this year. You haven't played much.
It's not released till next year. I'll play it next year when it's released in this country.
Okay, you are a journalist. We can get it on import.
Not a journalist, I'm a marketing manager.
The show is back in a big way today at 25 to 5, news hours at 5 o'clock, and of course at 10 past 5 we go down to Grange Hill. But right now, Bodger and Badger.
Bodger and Badger, that'll do.
La 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 la. Bodger and Badger, Bodger and Badger.
Chef wanted.
Jesus Christ, how bad is his eyesight?
Ring the bell. Okay, Badger. Once I rung it, you'll stay out of sight, won't you? Oh, stay out of sight. Why? Because people who run restaurants don't want to see a badger roaming around in the kitchen. Oh, why not? Well, because they're just, stupid. Yeah.
I get the impression that a lot of this guy's problems could have been resolved by simply leaving his pet badger at home.
Oh, so don't forget, stay completely outside. Right. See you later. And stay quiet as a mouse, Badger, in there, because here we... Sorry, I thought you were the doorbell.
So I got a face like a doorbell?
No.
Is that an insult? Oi, mate, you've got a face like a doorbell. Anyway, I'm bored of that. Let's check in on Andy.
Photograph of the tree onto that block. And where there isn't a tree, it makes the block invisible. It really is very clever.
Christ, he's still going.
Hi, Dad.
Ugh, adverts.
Oh, weepy. Looks like chops to me. Very droll. There we go.
Ah, Mum's chops usually come with gravy.
Do they?
To be fair, he should know this by now. They've been having gravy on literally every meal for at least 10 years by this point.
Just as well I wasn't making coffee.
Can I have one?
It's true, the first 18 years are the worst.
Jesus Christ, the dad in this family is literally at the end of his gravy.
Promise you'll look after Tufty when I'm
You must have seen this a dozen times.
Leave her alone. She's got a lump in her throat.
Must be one of Dad's sprouts. More coffee, Jason.
He said coffee, but it's actually gravy. Imagine if all of your problems could be solved by gravy. What a simpler time. Also, I've said gravy a lot. Anyway, come on, Andy. You must be done by now.
And my favourite demo as a bit of a sailor is this one, a harbour simulator for training boat captains. And now, for some more games reviews.
Finally, we're at some more game reviews, and it's Cosmic Spacehead on the Mega Drive.
This is an adventure game where you have to work out a strategy to get Cosmic back to Earth.
Well, it's not a strategy game. You don't really work out a strategy at all.
If you're a patient person and like to puzzle things out, then this is your sort of game, but it's not really mine.
Despite the cutesy graphics, it's not really for little kids. But if you like role-playing games, it'll make a nice change.
It's not a role-playing game either.
This is a poor excuse for a role-playing game.
That's because it's not a role-playing game.
And the scores for Cosmic Spacehead: the girls gave it a run-of-the-mill 3 out of 5, and the boys gave it a poor 2 out of 5.
Poor Cosmic Spacehead. I mean, the scores are probably about right, but he got the scores for completely the wrong reasons, so therefore I'm giving Cosmic Spacehead a posthumous 5 out of 5 across the board. R.I.P. Cosmic Spacehead. Zool 2 is up next. Yawn.
For those who have seen the original Zool, this may look terribly familiar.
Or just terrible.
Here we see the new character, Zeus. She's a female ninja. Makes a change to see a female character doing something of any use.
I think you'll find that Samus from Metroid is a female character.
but unfortunately you can only have either the music or the sound effects on at once.
Who said games don't give you meaningful choices, eh?
They've taken the easy option here. They could have made it radically different, but they've stuck with the winning formula. Don't buy it if you've already got Zool, though.
Sorry, I didn't really pay any attention to what he was saying there. I was mesmerised by that snazzy little number he's got draped around his neck.
I really like this game. The graphics are really good and it's very playable.
It's another platform game, but it's actually very good, even though it's very close to the original.
Adam's been lobotomised again.
And the scores for Zool 2. Both the boys and the girls gave it an excellent 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 each, just as good as Jungle Book on the Game Gear, which I suppose might be technically correct now that I think about it.
Hello again, Footless.
Back to Nam, and this time he's turned himself invisible. Long may it last. Last week's competition prize with a load of crap Last Action Hero merchandise. This week, however, it's...
The Reality Engine 2. You wish.
Yeah, if you believe that, you'll believe anything. It's actually a Game Gear and a copy of Jungle Book. Exciting stuff. And then it's Data Blast time, so in summary then, Rood's scriptwriters are really struggling to wring out the last drops of special effects they know how to do. Cyber Ace on PC is not going to be massive, and Cosmic Spacehead is not a role-playing game. See you next time for another episode of Breaking Bad Influence. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Breaking Bad Influence, the show in which Andy Crane pretends to be good at football, something I'm sure the core audience for this series will have a lot of experience with.
57, 78, 79. Welcome to Bad Influence. This week we're looking at football games, and we've got some of the country's top players in the studio with us to give us their opinion on the Megabyte matches.
And that includes a preview of what could be the best Mega Drive football sim ever.
Yes, that's right. Indie darling FIFA International Soccer is making its debut. The first of a current 29 games in a series, if you discount the online games, the World Cup games, the UEFA European games, the UEFA Champions League games, the street games, and the management games. Yeah, don't worry, I've never heard of it either. Screw all that though, today's main review is Lawnmower Man, the greatest movie license game ever created, no backsies. And also Zed is fannying about with robots. Still, we can't get into the fun straight away, this is Bad Influence after all. No, instead it's time to talk about joysticks and joypads. Hooray.
The most common ones are called digital, and this is how they work. Now, don't try this yourself, because we found that if you take these apart, they're jolly hard to get back together again. This is the inside of a joystick, and as you can see, there are 4 switches here. And as you move the stick, left or right or up or down, it activates one of the switches. What about moving diagonally? Well, that's easy. If you move the stick diagonally, you can see that it activates 2 switches simultaneously, so the computer knows to move your sprite diagonally. Joypads work in exactly the same way. There are the 4 switches for up, down, left and right, although in the case of a joypad, there's no stick to move, just your thumb moving around on the D-pad.
Consider yourself learned, so what's next?
This joystick's completely different to Andy's.
Oh, there's more. Good.
It's called an analog joystick, and it works on entirely different principles.
Okay, excellent. Right, we know everything there is to know about joysticks and joypads. Now, what's next?
Of course, for a shooting game, the ultimate accessory is something to really shoot with.
Oh no, they're still going.
You may have used one of these, you may have thought, what a great bit of new technology. But no, these things have been around a long time. This one is nearly 12 years old. It works with the Sinclair Spectrum, one of the very first home computers. They're good fun to play with and the technology's really neat, but I still don't think that anybody's come up with a decent game.
Bit harsh, Andy.
And finally, squeak squeak, there's the mouse. They usually come with computers and are really good for thinking games.
Really good for thinking games?
Like ones that you have to move a pointer around the screen and click on various icons.
Okay, fair enough. I guess that does require a certain amount of thinking.
Now, if I take the top off, you'll see how it works.
When Violet said she was going to take her top off and show you how it works, I suspect this isn't what you were getting your hopes up for.
A grey ball in the middle is moving around and moving against these 2 black rollers at the side, like that. And that's how the computer knows what to do.
There you go. You know exactly how mice work now. We're learning so much today.
And the controllers are getting more and more sophisticated. You can now get programmable joypads, like this one. These can store combinations of moves, so they're useful for beat-em-up games like Street Fighter 2.
Or as they're often known, the pad you give to your mate when you're playing 2-player games.
This one's called the Activator. It was tested by Z at a computer fair in January.
Oh no, don't advertise the Activator any more than you already have done. Although, it'll be interesting to see if they do cover it when it comes out. Andy isn't exactly afraid to air his opinions on crap like this. Finally, we get to Lawnmower Man, the only game due to receive a 6 out of 5 across the board.
I'm pushing on my lawnmower.
As film conversions go, this one's pretty good.
Yeah, he knows what's up. It's a classic.
And the different styles of gameplay really hold it together.
Perfect.
There's some nice touches in this game.
Mind-blowing.
I mean, look at the way the car goes down there. This is level 1, the basic platform. You can shoot the dustbins and you collect things like bonuses on those CD data cards.
I'm not sure CD data cards is the correct terminology, but I'll allow it because he's saying nice things about the game.
Access is denied at the moment, but if I shoot it, then I can go into the cyber world. Here I've walked through into a virtual world. What you've got to do is fly through the holes in the wall. It's quite hard though, because just one touch on the sides and you'll zap all the way back to the beginning.
Yep, just like real virtual reality. It's accurate. It's a 100% accurate game.
I think they could have put a bit more detail in.
No, shut up.
What I've done is I've moved into the computer to fight Joe face to face, as it were. I think this gameplay puts a little bit more variety into the game.
A lot more variety.
There's loads to do in this game, and the gameplay's certainly varied, but the graphics are a bit basic.
You're a bit basic. How dare you slander this game?
This really didn't grab me. Great music, but the graphics aren't exciting.
You make me sick.
I like this.
Yeah.
And so the final scores for Lawnmower Man. The girls gave it an average 3 out of 5. The boys won better, 4 out of 5.
No, you're all wrong. Lawnmower Man on the SNES is a national treasure and should be treated as such. Anyway, back to Nam, who's going to break the fourth wall, figuratively, and show us what's on the fourth wall of his shed.
They see this wall, and they see this wall, and they see this wall, but they never see that wall. So, I borrowed a video camera so I can show you what it looks like, but...
Probably covered in jazz mags.
There we are on the monitor. Interesting, eh? Right. There we go. Yes, there's some shelves there and some furtling equipment, and over here we've got, my other window, and my furtling jacket.
Well, close enough. That's where he keeps his wanking jacket.
I'm glad there's a fourth wall to keep him in.
Straight off to Zed again, and eagle-eyed viewers will recognise this footage because it's the exact same stock footage they used in Series 1. They're definitely being frugal in Series 2.
The second generation of machines was simpler and designed to do one or more simple tasks very well, with no attempt to make them intelligent.
Further proof that the Bad Influence review kids are primitive robots.
Genghis has simple motivations, just like an ant. He walks until he meets an obstacle, then tries to overcome it. Although he may not be much to look at, Genghis 2 is one of the most intelligent robots ever built. His brain is made up of 4 computers, which control all of his functions, including the 12 precise motors in his 6 legs. He knows where he is in his environment from a battery of sensors.
Nope, sounds like it's more intelligent than the review kids already.
Nero is Genghis's big brother. He's got more of everything.
Well, if he's more advanced and newer, surely it'd be his little brother? Unless they made a really good one and then, for some reason, made a shit one?
In 10 years' time, you might have similar but much smaller robots in your own home to run around and clean up after you.
Not quite, unfortunately. Maybe one day. Anyway, time for news and previews. Firstly, Violet bigs up Eternal Champions.
Here are the first pickies of what will undoubtedly be the big release of '94.
Poor 1994. Soon to be released, it's Malibu Bikini Volleyball on Lynx. Exciting. A new 3D shooter is coming out for the CDI. It's called...
Kether.
I don't know what she's saying here.
Kether.
Tether?
Kether.
Kether?
Kether.
I don't know, and I don't care enough to check.
Hello again, slimy furtlers.
We head back to Nam, who's making fake fart noises.
I've done a lot of research into foods that help you play. For example, for stamina, to keep you going through 17 levels or more, eat sunflower seeds.
Really going up in quality on these segments. Moving on, we've got a review of Microcosm on the Mega CD. It looks like the absolute poster child of early CD games.
This is a really original game. Every level set in a different part of the body. As I go along, I've got to destroy all the mechanisms which the bad guys have implanted. The backgrounds are great, but the main sprite is not very good.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. I think it all doesn't look very good.
To me, all the levels look the same.
Didn't you just praise the level design not 20 seconds ago?
It's not the most challenging game I've played, but deserves 4 stars of great graphics and excellent gameplay.
Weird summary, but okay.
This is a really good idea and the graphics are brilliant.
You know they're struggling to praise a game when the praise is, this is a really good idea.
A lot of thought and attention has gone into the graphics of this game. It looks fantastic and plays well too.
I'm sure they're talking about a different game at this point.
And the scores for Microcosm, both the girls and the boys gave it a macro 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 each, the new average. The Fidgets on Game Boy is next. Never heard of it, but it looks like one of those Disney knockoffs you find in the bargain bin at Aldi. It's basically Chip and Dale, but Capcom would have owned the license for that, so screw it, you can have the Fidgets instead.
If you're a fan of puzzle games, you'll really enjoy this. If not, it'll drive you completely mad. You're playing against a clock, and time's incredibly tight. You can't just sit around wondering what to do next. Frankie is the big mouse who can jump, but Freddy can't, so Frankie has to get blocks for Freddy to jump from.
Wait, say that again?
Frankie is the big mouse who can jump.
Frankie is the big mouse who can jump.
But Freddy can't.
But Freddy can't, right.
So Frankie has to get blocks for Freddy to jump from.
So Frankie has to get blocks for Freddy to jump from. Now, maybe my listening comprehension isn't on point here, but if Freddy can't jump, then A, how does Freddy get on the block? And B, how does he jump off the block if he can't jump?
In this video, we'll learn the most effective way to perform a 2-foot approach jump or running jump.
Oh, he can jump, so this was all just a lie.
This is a great puzzle game and you have to be really fast to get through the levels. There's no time to make any mistakes.
And yet you all keep going.
And the scores for Fidgets. The girls gave it an excellent 4 out of 5, but the boys only an average score, 3 out of 5.
Well, the scores are probably a bit higher than expected. It looks like a basic platform puzzler. It's certainly no Lawnmower Man.
We're all big football fans here at Bad Influence.
Well, I'm not. I've got absolutely no idea what a football even is. Thankfully, they've brought in some famous football men I've never heard of to play football games. First up, Sensible Soccer. What does football man number 1 think of it?
Yes, the on-screen timer, there actually isn't one, so you don't know how long you've got left to score that all-important equaliser.
Is it easy to get into?
It is easy to get into. I've enjoyed it, apart from the small bit on the screen, but that's a winner.
Yeah, well, I guess he probably likes it, I think. Let's move on to another football man and see what he thinks of the next football game.
Andy,
what do you think?
It's quite a good game, actually.
Good, he likes that one.
For the 5-a-side game, that's straight from the SNES. Let's move on.
Just snatched the joypad right out of his hand there. Also, why is there no game in that SNES?
You've got the arcade version and you've also got a management side of it.
So what's the object of the management game?
Come on, Andy, I think that's pretty self-explanatory, is it not?
It's quite time-consuming, actually, but, if you've got an afternoon to yourself, it can be quite enjoyable.
Well, it's good to see that the football men are just as informative as the Bad Influence review kids. Let's bring in another exciting football man to say things about football games.
John Newson has been looking at the latest Game Boy footy game, Goal. What do you think of it?
It's very hard to play, to be honest. You have difficulty to see the ball.
He sounds well enthused.
This is virtual soccer. What did you think of this one?
This is very good, really. The picture spins around when you have a throw-in or a corner.
Right.
And it is a good game.
Man, they really are exactly like the Bad Influence review kids. Finally, Andy brings all the football men together to play FIFA with a multi-tap, and then he proceeds to spasm about on the spot, completely forgetting that he's using a pad and not an activator.
So this one's a winner, FIFA.
Okay, Brian?
Definitely this one, definitely.
John?
Yeah, definitely FIFA.
All right, well, lads, thanks very much indeed for coming in and playing the games for us and giving us the benefit of our expert opinions. So, thumbs up from the lads for FIFA International Soccer, but next week it goes under the spotlight of our panel and they give it a full review.
So, FIFA, the little franchise that could, gets a thumbs up from the football men, but how exciting! We get a Bad Influence review next week. I can't wait. Last week's competition prize was Jungle Book and a Game Gear. This week it's a Mega Drive and FIFA International Soccer. Probably the first prize that costs less to buy now than it did then. And then it's Data Blast time, so in summary then...
Goal! Yes, 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 yes! That was a goal! Twat!
See you next time for another episode of Breaking Bad Influence. Hello and welcome back to the penultimate episode of Season 2 of Breaking Bad Influence, and almost halfway through this show's entire runtime. That'll be half all the episodes. That means there's another half left, and it's a game of two halves, which leads me awkwardly into telling you the main review this week is FIFA International Soccer. Not exciting enough for you? Well, there's also a laser show, lasers are exciting, and resistance is futile after all, the Borg show up for a bit.
Some clever headgear and a tame tech.
First though...
But first, clear the room.
Andy's just farted.
And this next item is top secret. Now, don't tell anybody I told you, but there's a way that you can play brilliant arcade games like this one, Super Street Fighter 2, at home without having to buy an expensive arcade machine. When a game's had its day, the arcade operator simply takes out the old PCB, repaints the cabinet, and puts in a new one. What happens to the old PCBs?
They get sold off?
Well, they're sold off cheaply.
Wait, cheaply? I'm not sure about that.
And you can play them at home if you've got one of these. It's called a Super Gun Deluxe, and it's an electronic box of tricks that lets you play arcade PCBs. You plug it in like this, plug in your joystick, and away you go. You do, though, have to have a modern television with a SCART socket because arcade PCBs put out American standard TV.
So all you need is a super gun, a joystick, a jammer board, although bear in mind this was before the internet was particularly big, so I'm not sure where you'd source one of them, a modern TV with fancy SCART capabilities. It's like there's no barriers to entry at all.
Now, obviously, you're not going to get Super Street Fighter 2 just at the moment because it's very popular, but there are some very playable classics around. R-Type 2 is well known from the SNES, but this version of R-Type 2 isn't half bad. It's not a million miles from The Last Resort on the Neo Geo, one of my favourites. This is Zex, spelled X-E-X-E-X. It's got great colour and graphic detail. And finally, an unusual one. Capcom's 3 Wonders, 3 games in 1.
And a bargain at only 250 quid. Over to Nam, and it's...
Only 2 weeks till Christmas, sir!
Which means the final episode is probably going to be a Christmas episode, and this is going to air on my channel in February. I didn't really plan this one out too well. Anyway, he's here to show you how to make a Christmas crown.
First of all, get 2 coat hangers and cover them in metal foil, like so. Then cut up some plastic bottles and stick the bits on. And then get some sparkly tinsel and carefully wrap it round your crown. And then get some bits of toilet paper and very carefully attach the bits to the middle.
Neil Buchanan's got now to worry about. Anyway, it's time for FIFA.
This game's got everything.
Nope, it's just got football.
This is a corner kick to Germany. You can either let the computer control the goalies or you can do it yourself, but it's best to let the computer do it because it's virtually impossible if you do it yourself.
But at least the option's there, eh? Got to give them that.
There are loads of ways to adjust the way your team plays. Here I'm changing team coverage. You can alter defence, midfield and attack. Also, you can change the formation your team plays in and choose the style of play.
You know, I've got to admit, I don't like football, I find it boring. So imagine how bored I am sat here listening to a boring man talk about the boring features of a boring football game. I am very bored.
This is the best soccer game ever.
It's football, not soccer.
If you like football, you've got to have it.
This is the most playable football game yet.
It's soccer, not football.
It's definitely on my Christmas list.
The graphics and gameplay are excellent. It's just packed full of new ideas.
It's football. It's packed with one idea. Football.
And so the final scores for FIFA International Soccer. Girls, 5. Boys, 5.
Well, I saw that one coming a mile off. However, based on Bad Influence's rules, that would mean each new iteration of FIFA should lose 1 star, just like Street Fighter 2 Turbo did, meaning if Bad Influence had continued into the modern age, they would have had to invent a huge negative rating system just to account for FIFA alone.
If you're thinking of buying a Mega Drive multiplayer game, there are some things you should know before you buy your hardware. The multi-tap that we use to play FIFA International Soccer is this one. It's made by Electronic Arts and it will only work with their games.
Of course it does.
Sega have their own multi-tap, this one, but that will only work with Sega in-house games. So you couldn't play FIFA International Soccer on this one.
What on earth were they thinking?
Confusing? It certainly is. However, all SNES multi-taps, of which this is an example, will play all SNES multiplayer games. So the whole family can join in, and then perhaps Mum and Dad will realise that instead of being something to complain about, computer games are actually quite good fun to play.
Zing. Take that, Mum and Dad. Well, things have been a bit slow so far. I reckon it's about time we ramp up the excitement levels and...
This is the life. I love messing about in boats. Mind you, I'm the only person in the park who isn't rushed off their feet.
Why is she in a boat? This isn't exciting. This isn't exciting at all.
In a few hours, there'll be the first trial run of Walsall Illuminations featuring a laser show in the famous Arboretum. Arboretum isn't to do with boats and arbours. It's actually a botanical garden, which features lots of trees.
Jesus Christ, I might as well be watching Countryfile at this rate.
This is one of the 2 lasers which they're using tonight.
Now that's more like it, lasers. Hopefully they'll use it to explode a planet, or maybe tie up a foreign spy and have it move delicately towards his knackers just before he escapes. That'd be exciting. Oh, they're just making patterns with it. Also, Violet hasn't been in a boat enough for this segment. Can we invite someone onto the boat to be interviewed by her for 5 seconds, please?
I asked Patty DeVoe, the laserist, why they'd set up lasers on both sides of the lake.
It gives a sort of 3D effect when you get the smoke coming in the back of it. It's a bit like a sort of tube of light coming out from the laser scanning head. And it just looks a lot better.
Thanks.
The laser show has been choreographed to match the music sequences. One of them features moving images of the Thunderbird team, which were digitised in by the programmers.
Is that star zoom?
Yeah. Lady Penelope's a bit off-centre still.
Well, she was a massive toff, so that's not surprising.
But it's dead easy to make changes to the computer program on site.
Says you. Honestly, I was waiting for something to happen, but no, that's it. Straight on to news and previews, and we've got James Pond in Operation Starfish coming out, which is a shame. Never mind though, on the CD32 we have Liberation Captive 2 coming out, which
Claimed to be so big it'll take you a lifetime to finish.
sounds like a threat if you ask me. Finally, cooling things off with something boring, we have Major Title on the SNES.
Mind those bunkers, though. Out next week.
Nam does a sketch where he gets shot at with a laser.
Yes, 2 minutes, 700 watts, maximum frequency, auto fire. Auto fire! Whoa! 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 Whoa!
That's enough of that. Anyway, the TV is on the blink and Violet's trying to fix things, so Andy is going to talk loudly in front of everyone while they're trying to have an important conversation.
Matthew, are you around here?
So, this
Oh, no,
is
it's
the
only
one here,
Violet.
is it?
And she's
Yeah,
using a
okay.
futuristic bit of
So
kit
put this
called
in like that.
CamNet here. Ordinarily, it would use a phone line or a satellite link to connect up 2 places that can be anywhere in the world. But for the purposes of this demonstration, anywhere in the world is behind our video wall and out here, behind our studio. This is Paul Garner from British Telecom's Research Laboratory, and they've developed the system. Paul, as the expert, can see exactly what Violet, as the novice repairer, can see because of the minicam on her headset. And they can talk to each other as well. So Paul can direct her actions and her hands.
That nervous fidgeting from Andy there tells me he's just repeated that sentence back through his head.
As you can imagine, there are millions of situations where it's very difficult to describe what you are seeing down the phone, especially if you need expert help. And this is where this system really scores. Better still, not only can Paul direct Violet's actions and her hands,
Stop saying it.
he can send her relevant information that she can pick up in the high-resolution eyepiece on the headset. Hooray! The video wall is repaired. Obviously, Paul, this is just a demonstration.
Well, that's lucky, Andy, because you were being very distracting.
But so you've developed this kit. Where do you see it being used?
Well, we've already supplied one of these systems to the Survival Centre in Aberdeen, where they're trying to get medical assistance to remote places in the world, like North Sea oil rigs and the Yemen and so on.
I see. So somebody at the scene of an accident will wear the headset like Violet is, and then a doctor will be sitting where you are, giving on-the-spot advice.
Giving expert advice and helping with the diagnosis.
Split-second diagnosis. It's a fantastic bit of kit, and it could save lives. It's amazing. Thanks for bringing it in.
Okay, look, it's a decent enough idea, but surely this just means one person, the expert, is sat on their ass behind a computer, and someone else, a work donkey, is off doing the actual work while you say things at them? Would it not be easier to just send the person who knows what they're doing? Oh well, I've literally never seen anything remotely close to this in action anywhere in the world, so I'm presuming it didn't take off. Straight off to another review, it's Daffy Duck on the SNES. What a surprise, it's a platform game.
If you like Looney Tunes characters, then you'll love this game.
That's not how liking things works.
There are 20 different levels on this game, set on 5 different planets. This is the planet Amazonius, set in the jungle. I'll just try and kill this army ant. Oh, killed it. Now I've got 2 sacks of money, which can help me buy weapons later on. It's quite hard to kill the enemies, even though it may look quite easy.
Are you going to offer literally no explanation to that? Why is it hard to kill the enemies? Oh, I see. It's hard to kill the enemies because you're constantly walking into them. Gotcha.
It's cute and good fun to play, but it won't win any awards for originality.
I doubt it'll win any awards, full stop.
And the scores for Daffy Duck, both the girls and the boys gave it a run-of-the-mill 3 out of 5.
I think bare average is about the exact score this game deserves, so at least that's a bonus. Cannon Fodder is up next. Don't worry though, Anti-Violence Kid has been left at home. Having watched this review 3 times, however, I can confirm that it is literally one of the most boring reviews I've ever witnessed on Bad Influence.
Don't let the power go to your head. You need strategy to play this game properly. On the left-hand side of the screen, you can see how many you've got left, or if one of your men is off on his own. This is a Grand Canyon level. Here I'm trying to destroy all the buildings. That's 1 down for a start. Oh no, the shed roofs killed 3 of my men.
These things that I regret.
4 or 5 each, I'll do. Off now to take a look at games you build yourself.
It comes with a plastic kit that you can build and paint in the normal way, but you don't get any instructions on paper, you get them on a CD-ROM.
So basically this is just Airfix, right? But with a CD-ROM that comes with it?
I've been working on this all day, so I'm already up to step 17. And if you click on the relevant parts, it will help you identify where they are. That's this bit here, isn't it? This sprig here. And if I click on the words whale tail, it will tell me what that part is and what it's for. The name for an aerofoil that has a shape that resembles the tail of a whale, not surprisingly. The computer will also show you how the pieces should go together, and it'll help you with the painting too. And when you've finished building the car, there's still loads more you can do with this. There's a racing game to play, and there are several tracks to race on. But first you've got to get to the tracks using ordinary roads within a time limit. That's hard enough in itself. And if you drive too fast, you get stopped by the police, who will give you a speeding ticket.
Nice car you got here.
There's no speed limit on this do-it-yourself PC game.
Wait, shush Violet. That was the end of Andy's section. But how did building the car have anything to do with the car racing game? That was literally just 2 different things slapped together. Rubbish.
It lets you design your own flight simulations, like this. You start by designing the landscape, and I've already begun. Now I want to put some more mountains in, so I choose a point where I want it here, and I select the little area where I want my mountain by the river, and I get it in close up here. And now I have to choose the raised land icon, and I can click on individual squares to make them higher. The lighter the shading, the higher the point. And now I can look at it in 3D.
Incredible stuff. The next Namrood segment involves him gluing his hands to things, and I'm honestly not sure if I've seen him do this before, or I've just seen every comedian in the world do this before, but either way, I don't want to see it again. Last week's competition prize was FIFA and a Mega Drive. This week it's a 3DO, which will
take over the world,
along with Crash and Burn, aptly named for the 3DO, I'm sure you'll agree.
Don't miss a moment of next week's show, because all your favourite game characters will be here joining us in the studio for our Bad Influence Christmas party. It's going to be excellent.
And apparently the one Andy's most looking forward to meeting is Chun-Li. Bye.
Ha! She got your number. Well, it's Data Blast time, so in summary then, setting up your own arcade at home is easy and cheap. All it takes is time, effort and money. Lasers are boring, and packing an Airfix car alongside a separate game where you drive a car that looks a bit like it are not games that you build yourself. See you next time for the final episode of Breaking Bad Influence Series 2. Hello and welcome back to the final episode of Series 2 of Breaking Bad Influence. And here's one for all the furries with low standards out there.
Hello, welcome to Bad Influence. As you can see, we've got some friends round for our Christmas party! But the bad news is, unfortunately, this is the last bad influence in the present series.
The good news is we're looking at all the good stuff that's coming out in the new year, including a look at one of the first 3DOs in the country. Is this the console that's going to take over the world?
No. This week, we've also got a review of Super Empire Strikes Back on the SNES, because you had to put the word super in front of everything on the SNES, and Zed is in America doing something or other, I don't know. First, though, the most important game of the century is just around the corner.
But first, have a look at this. It's the intro sequence to a new beat-em-up called Rise of the Robots. You control a cyborg who's been sent into a robot research laboratory where apparently all the robots have contracted a violent virus and are killing off all the humans. Nowadays, making a game like Rise of the Robots can be more like producing a movie than writing a computer program. They even use movie-style storyboards. For example, here's the storyboard for the intro sequence you just seen from Rise of the Robots, and there's a spaceship going into the buildings, and over here's the robot coming through the light.
The game started life about 2 years ago as a set of ideas bandied about between artists and programmers. And then somebody decided to put all those ideas down on paper and came up with this, the so-called game design document. This is like your instruction book and some. It's got all the information on the game, all the pathways through the levels, pictures of the backgrounds, pictures of some of the robots. It's all in here. But nobody went near a computer until the artists actually finally started to design the main characters.
And some may say that nobody involved in the making of Rise of the Robots ever went near a computer before they started working on it either.
Two other interesting facts about the game are firstly that the backgrounds were designed by a professional interior designer.
Well, that is very important. I always found that contemporary fighting games really miss the involvement of interior design to get the best out of the level spaces. I mean, no one can remember any of the levels from Street Fighter 2, for instance, because they were just designed by some Japanese guy, someone who probably didn't even have a degree in architecture, whereas in Rise of the Robots, each and every level is memorable and good to look at.
And secondly, you can't just bash the same old buttons again and again to win, because the computer will suss you out.
Ah yes, this old chestnut.
To control the robot's opponents, will sort of watch the way you fight and remember it, and then they'll adjust their tactics to cut through your defences. Cunning.
Okay, right, but even when she was explaining all that, what we're seeing on screen clearly shows that that was absolute bollocks. What sort of defensive tactic was that, eh?
After all this, the final element to add to the game is a sample of sound effects and music, and then there you have it. 2 years' work cut down into 3 minutes.
Which is roughly how long it'll take to realise you've just wasted 60 quid. Over to Rood, he's getting ready to celebrate Christmas, even though it's now March. Bit weird.
Hello, festive furtlers. I'm dead excited because I'm preparing for the best Christmas party this year. Hey! All my friends are coming, and Spiky and Flash and Cuddles, and even Andy and Violet too.
Let me guess, no one is going to turn up again. You've already done this bit in Series 1 now. You've already done all of these bits in Series 1. This week's headline review is Super Empire Strikes Back on the SNES. Pretty good game, all things considered, so I assume it's going to get average reviews across the board.
A major improvement on Super Star Wars. The only problem is that the first couple of levels are a bit too hard, but persevere because there's some great bits later on.
I'm not sure if it's a major improvement. It's basically the same game as the first one, but with some force powers thrown in. I'm glad he mentioned about the first couple of levels, though, because as well as being incredibly hard, they're also the most bland in the entire thing.
Here I am on the Dagobah Forest level. I've just met Yoda, so I've earned the Force. I've got loads of different powers, but what I need now is elevation. This will help me get up onto this top platform. There's loads more forces, including heal, which helps you when your energy's a bit low, and invisible, which really helps when you're fighting Darth Vader at the end.
Ah, yes. Do you remember that bit from The Empire Strikes Back where Darth Vader was just about to reveal to Luke that he really was his father, but then he was all like, Luke, where the fuck have you gone? And then Luke was like, aha, I was invisible this entire time, you dickhead. And Darth Vader goes, you cheeky scamp. And then the Emperor goes, this is exactly why I didn't want Luke Skywalker to become a Jedi. He's such a shit. And then everyone laughs. Remember that? No, me neither.
This game is near perfect. I just couldn't stop playing it till I finished it. It's magnificent.
This is fantastic. It's the best film conversion I've ever played.
I can't remember if she was involved with the Lawnmower Man review from a few weeks back, but if she was, she's a goddamn liar.
It's a massive game, with excellent graphics and gameplay.
And so the final scores for Super Empire Strikes Back, both the girls and the boys gave it top marks, 5 out of 5.
Well, there we have it, the third and probably final game of the series to get top marks, and I would say it's most likely deserved for the time of release. Not enough people complained about the first two levels though, which are cack. Over to Zed in America now, where he's back at MIT in Boston. Again, I'm sure he's been there 5 times in this series, but anyway. Firstly, he shows us this really cool stuff.
I have a feeling I'm about to take a walk on the wild side. Down here is the holography lab, where they're working on the leading edge. These are some experimental holographic animations. Very few people in the world have ever seen moving holograms like these. They were made by using 3 beams of laser light. Red, blue, and green.
I mean, presumably it's really cool. It's not really cool to sit and watch a 3D hologram on a 2D screen. It kind of misses the point somewhat.
In the visual language workshop, students are working on software that can change the viewer's focus from one thing to another. They can do interesting things with layers of text.
Well, that's a lie.
These little boxes are the product of another piece of software called the video streamer. And this represents a piece of movie.
Okay, I've watched this 4 times now, and I still don't understand. These boxes hanging by bits of string from the ceiling, represent a piece of a movie? Maybe I just don't understand art, that's probably my problem.
The technique was created by Professor Gloriana Davenport. Here, all the clips of the movie that have been shot for a film can be easily selected and edited together.
No, it's really not. It's like Windows Vista levels of software engineering.
Just down the hall, they're doing some strange things.
I dread to think.
Fast, change the bow, and do a little tremolo.
This is a hyperviolin, invented by Professor Todd McCulver. The computer already knows the piece of music, and so the bow acts like the conductor's baton.
So we want to measure lots of things about the way you're playing. How loud and how soft.
The computer knows what's being played because of special transmitters built into each end of the bow and connected by a metal strip. Their signal is picked up by a receiver built into the violin. The computer can then map exactly the position of the bow and produce a visual readout on this monitor. The hyperviolin is designed to be used only by virtuoso musicians.
Okay, once again, I've watched this segment at least 4 times now, and I still don't understand the point. They've attached a load of sensors to a violin, got that, and then they've called it hyperviolin. Super cool, love the name. But what is the purpose? What is it doing? There's no point telling me how it works if you're not going to explain why it exists.
To Nam, happy Christmas, love Spiky. That's nice. P.S. I won't be able to make the party. I've got to do something. Oh well, all the more cake for everyone else.
Surprise, surprise, no one is coming to Nam's Christmas party. Colour me shocked.
Presents are most likely to be hidden in number 1, the spare room wardrobe, and number 2, the cardboard box under your mum's bed, or number 3, in the chest of drawers next to the front door.
I'm sure parents are loving this segment.
Megalomania on the Mega Drive. On the password screen, simply type in Jules, like so, and when you start to play, you'll get a secret hidden game that's like the classic arcade game, Asteroids. Brilliant.
Okay, you know what? That's actually a pretty cool cheat. At least we got one out of this series.
Look, it's another Christmas card. Oh, it's from Cuddles and Flash. We've got to do something too. Oh well, it's just me, Andy and Violet then.
I'm not going to Nam's party, are you?
Nah, I'm going to stay in and dye my hair a funny colour.
What a bunch of bitches. Andy and Violet are basically the mean girls, and Nam is that one girl who wears glasses and reads books and everyone calls her ugly, but then at the end of the film she takes her glasses off and she's not ugly at all, and she gets off with someone and then the film ends. That's what Bad Influence is. Anyway, enough of that. It's time to go straight into the news and previews rush hour. They want to present you with as many things as possible in about 5 minutes, so strap yourselves in. This is going to be an explosion of information. First thing, Eternal Champions is coming out on the Mega Drive, something they mentioned about 3 episodes ago. R-Type 3 is coming out, an absolute banger, or I presume so anyway, I don't think I've got past the 2nd level. Inferno on PC and Amiga is coming out, never heard of it and it looks cack. Ground Zero Texas on Mega CD is coming.
Ground Zero Texas on the Mega CD is a good example of the way games and films are coming closer and closer together.
I think it's actually a better example of how when games and films come close together, the game part basically gets jettisoned for the film part. But to each their own. Alone in the Dark 2 is coming out. Again, they've already talked about this. Stonekeep is coming to PC. Never heard of it, but it's got digitized footage, which, if anything, is a good example of the way games and films are coming closer together. Next up, it's Young Merlin on the SNES. Looks horrid. Look at it. I hate it. Even Violet's bored.
The plot? Well, it's the usual stuff. Merlin must outwit the king's army and battle assorted evil geezers. Blah, blah, blah.
Rebel Assault is coming out. I can't remember if it's good or not. It's probably fine. Dragon's Revenge for the Mega Drive is coming out, which is unfortunately shite compared to the previous game. And then we have every teacher's worst nightmare.
Because it's also a tiny TV and video remote control, so you can switch off people's televisions. You can sneak around furtively just going, oh, sorry about that one.
I'm not sure if anyone else's schools are infested with these wrist remotes, but trying to watch through the dragon's eye while someone keeps pressing fast forward, pause, or just switching the bastard off was a right pain in the arse.
After that brief interruption for gadget fans, have a look at Rock and Roll Racing on the SNES.
Rock and Roll Racing on the SNES is coming out soon. Great game and great soundtrack. Toe Jam and Earl 2, which I've still not played, even though I love the first one, but it's not my fault, I've been very busy. Jungle Book is coming out, meh. And that's it for news and previews. Talk about a rush of information, gee whiz. Anyway, screw all that, Micro Machines is back. Yeah, hopefully they won't massively piss me off like they did in Series 1.
I've played this game on other systems, but I think it works better on the Game Gear. Probably because it feels like you've got a wheel in your hand.
Nothing about what you've just said makes any sense, you absolute lunatic.
This is where you choose the characters. Every character has a different personality and different driving ability.
I'm not sure if that's true or not. I know they always said that was the case, but I literally cannot remember a single time where I've thought, the only reason I lost that race is because Walter used his cunning wisdom to defeat me. It's just random, innit?
Every level has a different car. Here I'm in a Porsche and I'm on a desktop. It's very hard on the desktop because there's no edges and you can fall off or knock people off. But I've just fallen off myself. So the cars are very hard to control, so the level is very hard indeed. But the graphics are excellent for a Game Gear. Just look at the detail in the wood grain.
Yes, we all like nice detailed wood grain in our driving games. I find it very odd that they're lumping in the Game Gear version with the Amiga and Master System versions of the game. Surely they're separate entities.
An excellent game, particularly in two-player mode, although it depends who you've got to sit close to.
Anti-violence kid there, just throwing shade at his smelly co-reviewer.
And the scores for Micro Machines, both the boys and the girls gave it an above average 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 each, which is fine, that's better than last series, but bear in mind that based on the rest of the scores in this series, that's still absolute bollocks. I can tell you now, I'm still playing Micro Machines, and I'm not still playing Oscar on the Amiga, or ever, at all, in fact. Cyberpunk's on Amiga is next.
There's a lot of time and effort being put into this game, but the producers forgot to add one thing: gameplay. The aim of this game is to find keys and discs which allow you to go into computer terminals and discover maps of the area. The characters are quite cute and the graphics are okay, but the problem with the game is that you feel it's quite a laborious task. You don't enjoy it, there's not much excitement. It's not the worst game in the world, it's just mind-numbingly boring.
I love the hairstyles, but I didn't like anything else about it.
A run-of-the-mill platform game. The gameplay is just not varied enough.
Is that all you got?
And the scores for Cyberpunks, both the girls and the boys gave it a dull 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5 each? Yeah, fair enough, it looks wank.
And now a look at what some people think will be the future of games consoles 3DO. If you're not familiar with the system, it's a CD-based machine. It'll play photo CDs, music CDs, and soon you'll be able to get movies on CD for it too. But it's really catching people's imagination as a sophisticated games console.
Oh yes, the most sophisticated of all the games consoles, la-di-da. Just look at that fancy animation, this very high-class foreign football game.
The system's due to be launched in this country next April. It will probably cost around £500, which is a lot for a games console, but the manufacturers are hoping that you will buy this instead of buying a photo CD and a CD player as well.
No one in the history of ever has ever wanted a dedicated photo CD player, so that is an insane business decision.
Well, Andy and Violet have obviously been delayed a little.
Nam's final section of the series, and guess what? No one turned up to his party. Who'd have thought it? Anyway, regardless of all that, his final cheat sounds like a sex metaphor.
At the beginning of the game, when Ralph and Lee are running through the Sleepwalker logo, type in dinga ding, dang my danger, long ling long.
You're telling me that's not the name of someone's penis? Give me a break. Last week's competition prize was a 3DO, the future of gaming, along with the game Crash and Burn, not the future of gaming. This week there's no prize because it's the final episode, but there are a lot of puns.
This is the last show, so there's no competition. If 3D only we could stay longer, but it's a Nintendo the series.
But Amy, you get to make another series.
And you will do, but not until the autumn. Until then, we have to Sega. Bye.
All right then, ta-ta, eh?
PC, yeah?
And then it's Data Blast time. So in summary then, goodbye Violet, goodbye Andy, goodbye Zed, goodbye Deformed Sonic, goodbye Nam, goodbye Nuclear Adam, goodbye Smiley Lass, goodbye Lakesh. And what the hell, goodbye to Anti-Violence Kid as well. We're finally here at the end of Series 2, so with a sigh of relief, I say, see you next time for another series of Breaking Bad influence. When I can be asked to get round to it.